Shuli and Madison are here. Let me apologize. My voice is gone. I wish I could give you some story that I was out, doing blow.
Every time you come here, you're sick, and I've taken a log, and it's enough.
It's enough already. I know.
It's enough.
Anyway, we're at Howard 101. Call us at 888-STERN 101. Tom Davis. Do you remember Franken and Davis?
Sure.
Well, you were a little boy then, right?
I just started watching Saturday Night Live then. I remember their bits.
So you got Al Franken is a huge, he's the senator now, and he moved to radio. And then you've got all the other guys from Saturday Night Live that moved on. Tom Davis, who come in here live, lives alone in the woods in a little cabin. That's how his life ended up.
He's like J.D. Salinger, right?
Not exactly. I think J.D. Salinger wanted to live in
Howard Hughes?
Well, that was my question.
No, I think he had a regular life. And then, for whatever reason...
Maybe he's one of those, I want to unplug and live in a real shitty place.
I don't think so.
One of those.
I don't think that's the way it works. But, so, one night, I get all the books, and I thumb through them, and I pretend I, know something about them.
I don't know him.
He was Al Franken's partner, and they wrote for Saturday Night Live for a long time.
So if somebody told me the sketches they wrote, maybe I would know who
you
he
would
is.
have to ask him that. But more than that,
I doubt he remembers them.
What are the sketches you wrote?
Well, ask him. Do that. But Al Franken wrote the foreword to this, and says that he quit being Tom Davis's partner because of the drugs and alcohol.
Right.
But it's a very friendly. It's like what I'd write about you.
Well, I mean, Saturday Night Live in those days, it was just tons of blow. Everybody was on it. Everybody was doing it. Writers were up all night working, on blow.
Well, they protected Al Franken, though. They don't say he didn't eat drugs in here. And, he's going to be the United States Senator. So what they would do is they would get in a break, and then Tom Davis and Danny Aykroyd would go to, like, Fiji or something. Mm-hmm. They would just fly away and hang out for 5 days and then, come back.
I mean, there's a pro there. You're in Fiji, but the con is you're with Dan Aykroyd.
That's right.
By
the way, Dan is a chick magnet.
Yeah, he's still with Donna Dixon?
Yes, he is. Of course he is. That's what I meant to say.
They do say what sketches he wrote, and I've never heard of any of them.
You would remember, I would know he just wrote. So
I'm an SNL person, and I still watch it to this day, because there's always some gem that'll come out that's funny. There's always something that's funny.
Anyway, so
you got to stick with it.
We'll have him on. Then we'll have the woman on who's applied for this fabulous job in Australia. And all she has to do is swim around and then email back to people. And like I said, another 5,000-6,000 people tried out for it. It's called the greatest job in the world. All you have to do is snorkel off the coast of Australia, and they give you 150,000 Australian. That's all.
If you don't know how to swim, then that's
they're
not
going to hire anybody who doesn't know how to swim. Yeah. And then Sean Hannity will come on later.
Talk about the greatest job in the world.
and because I'm doing his show tonight.
News.
No, your mom.
All the things I've ever said about either Sean Hannity or conservatives or whatever will be forgotten.
Well, you
today.
love the Fox News.
I absolutely love the. They flew me in this week to do this. Whatever this thing. I'm on tonight with the former lieutenant governor of New York, and then some lady lawyer. How they picked me to help out, I don't know.
Plead the fifth. Any question they ask you, just go.
I've been reading the Wall Street Journal.
Well, you're a good third, guest if they can't find anybody
else. You know what you say if you want to be successful at Fox News, when you talk to them, you sit down and you go, you know what I think? Tax cuts. And they love you. That's all you got to say. Tax cuts.
I don't think it's so much as him being a good third guest as much as it is him being a great bullshitter. And
he is
that's
a good
right.
Bullshitter, yeah.
When I did Politically Incorrect a lot, I would go in and go, are we heavy on conservatives or liberals? What side?
Let's put a pot of coffee on, boys. What do we got?
What do we got here?
You're malleable.
They go, hey Jay, how do you feel about guns? How do I need to feel? Love them or hate them?
I can throw a lisp in if you need it.
Love them or hate them. So
tell me what you need.
Al of Las Vegas. Every time I get a call from Las Vegas, I think of Shuli as a young boy. all night. The little Vietnamese, pedicurist sleeping in the bed, and Shuli waiting to do bits for Howard. And how many years did that go on?
That went on for like 6 years.
Wow.
6 years. Yeah. Every single night.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like 4 nights a week, at least.
At least.
Hang on the phone, wait to... unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just, Yeah,
I still don't know how he got hired. He's
what a
told
tribute.
me the story, but it's
a tribute to marijuana. I can tell you that right now.
It is.
Right.
Al, Vegas, Jay Thomas Show with Shuli and Madison. Yes, sir.
Hey, Jay, how you doing?
God, Al, it's... Good Lord, man. It's, what is it, like
4
in the morning?
That's nothing. I was bowling in a bowling league at this time in Vegas. When I used to work, work as a busser, 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. Or no, what was it? It was, all I know is we got out at 3 a.m. and we bowled till 6 a.m.
Awesome.
A league of all people that got off at 3 a.m.
These were the nights you didn't call the Stern Show.
Yeah, this was actually before I started.
So the bowling league would take, precedence. Did you have a shirt and everything?
No.
No shirt.
Gay like that.
I'm sure. Yes, Al, go ahead. There's a lot of bowlers that listen.
I know.
I'm a janitor, by the way. So.
Are you in the building right now, janitoring, right this minute?
No.
Well, that's what you say.
That's the verb.
Are you a custodial engineer to try and make it, sound?
Absolutely.
A custodial engineer. That's fine. I was thinking I want to tell you something. I mean this. For all the years that I've gotten up early or whatever and come to work, and you see people really working.
Right.
Like you both came, and I know Sean and Garrett came, and they're up early. They're already lifting something.
I know.
They got a cigarette going. They got the coffee, and we have never. Shuli has.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I used to be that guy, and I'd always slam something on my finger at 6:30 in the morning.
That'll wake you up.
Fucking cut or shock myself when I was doing electrical. That's why I knew I was destined for something else, because I'm like, none of this shit agrees with me. I was doing plumbing. I dropped a cast iron pipe on my finger one day, pulling it off.
Were you always stoned? I mean,
no, not at all. I used to get stoned later on in my careers because I was so I was so miserable.
Oh.
I'm putting on an apron to go bus at the Olive Garden. You bet your sweet ass I'm doing a bong load before I leave the house.
Shuli, how'd you go into university?
That's right.
Oh, please. University.
Education. Now, did you ever work at one second, Al? I know you're probably busy. Anybody puke in the bathroom last night?
No, but number 2.
Somebody took a dump.
How did they miss?
And they didn't flush?
It gets on the top of the seat.
How
underneath the
does
seat.
that? Oh.
You know what? I swear to God,
right.
I listen back to the tapes and I go, okay, look, let's try not to do anything scatological for at least 2 weeks.
Sometimes it's fun.
You asked for it.
I know I did. I'm here 6 minutes, and I asked one simple. I went to vomit.
Jay, it's under the seat.
Yeah.
That means
underneath the seat.
You know what, Shuli? I'll get back to you in a minute because I have another question.
Well, then it's splattered.
I have another question to ask Al.
like a turd bomb.
What about these people that have to wipe and put their name or something on the wall? What is that?
Oh, that was on the show Oz.
I don't get that a lot, but I'll tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the women restrooms are worse than the men.
It's true.
I believe that.
It's true.
No.
It's true.
They will complain about it staying on the top of the seat.
Right.
On top of the toilet, and then, I'd fill up the soap. And the soap is hardly touched.
Oh, I use it.
Now,
all the toilet paper's used and no soap.
Every job has its lingo. It has its problems. We see a guy janitoring, custodial engineering, and we don't think much of it.
You don't know the pros and cons of his.
We don't know it. Give us some janitorial lingo that you and the other janitors might.
You guys got codes for anything?
Yeah, we're some. Cause I might just want to throw one out.
Are you on a CB ever?
You have like a code for a turd under the toilet. You have a code for that?
The worst one is a shotgun wound.
A shotgun. Hold on a minute.
Shotgun wound.
Hold on.
I know floater.
All right, hold on. Put him on hold for 1 second. Let's go around the horn.
I know floater.
Do we have around the horn? Can we still do it? Here we go.
I know what it is.
Hold on.
Shotgun load.
Shotgun wound.
Shotgun wound. Sean Kelly, communist from Canada. Come on in here, executive producer. Shotgun wound in the custodial field.
Interesting but smelly.
Interesting but smelly. I don't know what that means. Garrett Andrews, shotgun wound it's lingo from the custodial world.
I want to say projectile vomiting from the ass onto the wall.
Projectile, hold it. Projectile
I didn't even think of that.
ass vomiting. Hold on. If you know it, you have to back up.
I don't know it for sure.
Shuli.
Oh, come on, let me
Shuli.
go.
I think it is
What?
a diarrhea mixed with blood.
Bloody
Nope.
Bloody
diarrhea.
I'm taking a guess here.
Go ahead. What do you think?
It is remnants of period blood.
Well, that's the same thing, basically.
No, it isn't.
Period.
It's period blood. That has nothing to do with diarrhea.
Shotgun wound. I know what it is.
Good
Period
morning,
blood.
everybody. We're talking shotgun wound. Give us
I
a
know
call
it.
at
No, it's a
888-101.
tampon or something. Hey, Sean.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's quickly go to Steve.
Tampon stuck to the ceiling.
Windsor, Ontario, because the show is for people that are listening.
Unflushed tampon.
What do you think shotgun wound is, Steve? Before we go back to Al, Las Vegas, Steve.
How you doing?
Yes, shotgun wound in the custodial business.
This is Steve?
Your name is Steve, yes.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about the shotgun. I called about the alarm clock cock pump.
The alarm clock cockpit. Can we put
Can you please hold, Steve?
Steve, hey, Steve, hold on. We'll have one of our service representatives speak to you in just a moment.
Do you need a service technician?
You know what?
Is there a problem with the alarm clock?
How would you like to call India to get your alarm clock cock pump fixed?
Transfer them to India.
Chris, the Jay Thomas Show. We just went around the horn. Chris of Harrisburg, PA. In the custodial world, what do you think a shotgun wound is?
It would be a deuce on the loose.
A deuce on the loose. Thank you.
With another code.
All right, let's go back to Al in Las Vegas. Hey, Al, the Jay Thomas Show. How are you? Al, have you ever had this kind of focus, by the way, on your job, on your custodial job?
Never.
Isn't this fun? Isn't this incredible? You know, I'm giving myself a compliment right now. What I'm saying is, I've been able to take your crappy job and turn it into something. I mean, that's terrible to say. Now, listen. Can you tell us where you work before we get the answer?
No, I cannot.
You cannot. All right.
I will give you a winner.
All right.
Her name is Madison.
Yes!
Oh, wow. It is period blood.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. And where would it have to be? On the seat or whatever? What is it?
In the garbage cans, on the floor, on the wall.
Wow. They have a right helter-skelter with it?
Mm-hmm. I see. Listen, go to jthomas.com and as a gift, buy anything you want. With your own money, I might add.
Yeah. We don't have a code or anything.
We don't have like
Really?
a coupon code.
You can't give this guy something for cleaning up shotgun wounds?
Well, you know what we'll send him? How about the Tom Davis book? Brand new Tom Davis. Did you like Saturday Night Live, the drug addicts that wrote that, and Franken and Dave?
Sure.
Okay, sure. We'll send you that.
Yay.
Now here's my final question. I would like to get into this a little more deeply because something was said by Madison. Had Shuli gone to college or whatever, his life wouldn't have turned out.
No offense, Shuli.
And no offense to you, Al. When you were a little boy, did you go into the bathroom and you just knew you were going to be a custodian? You know, like the cowboy.
Always drawn to bloody tampons?
I was always pretending I was an actor or a comedian, and Madison was pretending that she was paranoid, schizophrenic as a child. What were your dreams as a boy?
To be honest with you, I thought I was going to be playing Judas Priest and Iron Maiden records.
You just thought you'd be playing the records on the radio?
Yes.
Way to shoot high, dude.
He thought he'd be a DJ.
You don't really have that kind of booming voice.
That's a new approach to it. I kind of like that.
That doesn't matter.
FM mellow, kind of mellow.
Here comes the number of the beast coming at you from Iron Maiden.
You know what would be good, though?
He's got a nice laugh.
Don't forget, there's a blood drive this week.
You know what would be good, though? When you're in that echoey thing, in the toilet, that's a good sound, that echoey toilet sound. You ever pretend you're announcing in there and you're in an echo chamber like Cousin Brucey does? Doesn't his show have that echo on it all the time?
Yeah.
What channel's he on?
60s on 6?
60s on 6. Sure. There you go. Hey, Al, great talking to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right.
We love you, Al.
Wowee. Wonderful. Brian of South Carolina? Where's this? South Columbia. There, that's wrong.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yes, how are you, Brian?
Welcome, South Columbia land, to the show.
You are coming up, you knew period blood. Now you know sweet tea. You're going to have a show today, aren't you, girl?
What do you mean?
Well, sometimes you come in and look at Shuli. He's giving up.
I'm on the verge of a breakup, so I'm feeling fine, baby.
Brian of South Carolina, yes, sir. Go ahead. What can we do for you?
That period blood, man.
Yeah, you know what? We actually have already gotten emails. Please stop it. We're trying to have our breakfast. People are driving on freeways all over. Coffee's being spilled. McDonald's is going to get sued. You know what I like in the side of the cup? Beverage hot. Oh, yeah, that'll stop a lawsuit in about 2 seconds.
But theirs is really hot.
Yeah, well, that's why it hurt that woman's legs. Yes, Brian of South Carolina. Yes, go ahead.
What he said is 100% true.
Wait a minute. Are you in the janitorial business?
No, I'm not, but I've seen the remnants. I work at a large company, and the women's restrooms are the worst. And when he says a shotgun load, they actually leave the projectile on the wall.
Is that anger? Is that just
That's ridiculous?
No, you know what it is? It's just horrible anger. They're pissed off, and they. Is that what it is?
I have no idea, but I was talking to our maintenance manager, and he said,
What is his name? Wait a minute. Your maintenance manager.
Yeah, the guy that does all the ordering for all the toilet paper and crap, and he says we go through over 100 rolls a day.
Maintenance manager.
100 rolls a day.
What do you do for
a lot of crap?
I'm
a lot of
I'm a maintenance
manager.
manager.
Yeah, but women also wipe their pee-pee too, so that's...
Wow.
You know.
All right.
Doesn't mean they're pooping.
So there's an anger issue. There's an anger projectile. I've done everything I can to try and clean this show up, and
either that or there's some sort of Target contest in every restroom.
Honestly, I've never seen the period blood in the restroom here. I've never seen that.
No, this place is actually okay.
There are times. There are times.
This is such a little high school place, Brian, that they know the employees and the announcers
that don't wash their hands.
And they, what do you call those people?
The brown list.
They call them the brown list.
There's a chart in the back.
So they watch everybody.
I'm watching the bathroom door right now.
Yeah. Wouldn't you want to know that? If you're taking a leak and the guy in the stall gets up and walks right out, you're going to mark that. I'm not.
You're going to mark that down?
Well, we have a bin of pretzels here that everybody digs into.
Oh, come on. With their bare hands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Garrett, no wonder you have big sores on your lips and inside your nose.
Ira comes in with that giant thing of pretzels.
Oh, what's great is Ira
pass that information around.
Ira grabs a handful of pretzels and stuffs them in his top shirt pocket.
But it's only one move. It's only one move. If you do it once, then the germs, I don't know, can't stay.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
All right. Hey, thank you very much, Brian. Wow. A lot of... Let's go to Derek of New York. I'm trying to pick these. I'm trying to get like a signal, an ESP, signal.
Imagine if this was terrestrial radio, you'd be like, let me guess, you got an ouchie in your poopy. Is that what it is?
Hey, by the way, before I talk to Derek, did you see what Colbert said on the Today Show the other day?
Better not say anything about me, because I'll kick his
Meredith Vieira said, do you Twitter? He says, no, I twatter. Did you hear that? Oh, man, it was really funny. It was really funny.
I find him to be very pretentious.
No, that's an act.
Oh, whatever.
Have you ever seen him act normally?
No.
No, he doesn't. It's the most...
Him and Jon Stewart, I don't like.
No, but Jon Stewart is not, he acts normal sometimes. Mm-hmm. Colbert never lets you know who he is, ever.
Well, I know he ain't no Republican, that's for sure.
Well, and Meredith Vieira died laughing, but it was,
well, she's got a good sense of humor.
She's fantastic.
She's,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you think Colbert is pretending to be a conservative?
No, I don't like that.
Of course he's pretending.
Pretentious Comedy Central liberalism. I don't like it.
Well, you and Sean Hannity will have a lot to talk
snooty.
about.
But I don't like that either. That's, too much to the right, and these guys are too much to the left.
That's what the Jay Thomas Show is for.
We're right in the middle.
Let's go to Derek from New York.
Remember, you used to be on Talk Central.
I sure was. I've done everything. I was in everything. All right. I've done it all. Tom Davis, you know him from Franken and Davis from a long time ago, helped actually begin, start Saturday Night Live, has written this book about 39 years of short-term memory loss. The man lives in a little cabin in the woods, and I guess dropped out completely.
I bet he's got some good shit stories.
And Franken in this thing says that it was drugs and alcohol that caused this poor guy, Tom Davis, to have to drop out. Okay?
All right.
Surely all of this is an object lesson for you. Okay? All of it. I'm worried about you.
I'm worried about you.
This is an intervention.
You're not worried about me.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, that's it. All right. It's the Jay Thomas Show. Also, we'll have this woman with this great job. And Sean Hannity will be here as soon as he wakes up. Talk to us anyway, and I'll do his show tonight. And it's Howard 101.
It's obscene. It's wrong. It's obscene. It's wrong.
Here are the thrill seekers.
Oh, my God. Shuli, Madison, Jay Thomas.
The Jay Thomas Show.
Howard 101.
Go to jthomas.com and buy stuff there because we don't make enough money in a regular job. We even have, we love the president. We sell Obama the Commie T-shirts just because for some reason the right wing loves all that. Sean Hannity will be here later on. Some woman with the greatest job in the world. And Tom Davis is here. He was the man. You invented Saturday Night Live. You want to put headphones on, Tom?
Sure, I'll put on whatever you want. If you got a funny hat.
No, I don't have a funny hat. Don't have a funny hat. So, Tom Davis was partnered with Al Franken. They were young boys in like a little private school in Minneapolis,
yes,
in Minnesota. And I get all the books, right, from people I'm going to talk to. And I thumb through them and I tear some stuff out, you know. I sat down and read the whole thing like in a couple hours, which is unheard of.
Jeez, I'm thrilled.
And I'm not kidding you. I looked and I said, well, you know, I kind of know all this stuff, but I really enjoy, if you like Saturday Night Live and the beginnings of it, it is fantastic. But the thing that struck me, there's a lot of things in it. When you guys would shut down for a while, you and Aykroyd would like go to the airport and fly to an island or something.
Right.
God, that was the greatest part of the whole deal. Comedy all week, completely drugged up, right?
Well, speaking for myself, of course.
Right. Completely loaded, and everything. Coke, pot, heroin, all of it.
Well, there were different eras.
Of drugs.
Yeah.
Right. And then you'd go to like, Easter Island or something crazy.
Right, for Christmas.
And stand next to the giant statue.
The heads.
The heads on Easter Island.
Right.
Right.
They're inspirational.
Yeah, and then they'd say it's time to come back to work, and you'd get back in a plane and you'd come home.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found that to be like, did you think you had the greatest job in the world?
I did have the greatest job in the world, and it took me the longest time to get fired.
Now, back then, you know, they talk about all the money everybody makes. You guys weren't paid that well in the beginning. Is that the truth that
I thought I was being paid well, but I was never really in show business. I just did shows. That's what I found out.
Right. So was there thousands of dollars available for people a week? I mean, I used to hear that we love this Saturday Night Live, and yet the original first 4 or 5 years salaries were not fantastic.
Well, Danny told me that in the first year, they all chose Jane Curtin to represent the entire cast, and that year they were all paid the same, and that was peace. And, for the writers, Franken and I started out being paid the minimum for one person because the Writers Guild at that time permitted a team to be hired as one person.
So you were one person?
Yeah, with a 6-week contract. So we knew something big was going to happen, but we didn't know if we were going to be there when it happened.
The 6-week contract let you know something big was going to happen?
No, the collection of people before the show even had a name. It was exciting Al and I came from the West Coast, and I had shoulder-length hair and a Grateful Dead T-shirt, and I met Michael O'Donoghue and those Lampoon people, and I cut my hair and started wearing coats and I didn't say far out man anymore. That changed as soon as I got here.
You mean you got less hip when you got to Saturday Night Live?
I stopped talking like a hippie. I still was a hippie, but I was learning.
He took the West Coast out of him.
Yeah.
And he adapted to being in the East Coast.
Exactly.
Well, you see, it's a stoner here that understands exactly what
and I'm
you're
also
saying.
from the West Coast.
And we're still alive.
Yeah.
Right. We made
now,
it.
in the book, by the way, the book is the 39 years of short-term memory loss and it's Tom Davis. Now, he and Franken broke up, but Al wrote the foreword of the book, Senator Al Franken.
Yes, he's not sworn in yet. Maybe a couple of weeks. I talked to him last week.
There's not a lot of drug references to Al Franken in here.
Not that
Did you do it on purpose so that the right wing guy couldn't hold the book up and go? Coleman couldn't say, "Look at what a drug fiend you've elected."
Al, as far as he never bought drugs.
Well, no way.
He never paid for drugs.
Well, Tom, neither did I until I got fired from Murphy Brown.
And everybody in the 70s got a taste.
Sure.
Now, some of us got addicted and some of us had problems. When Al quit.
Right.
And especially when his wife became pregnant, that was a paradigm shift for him. And the only time that it was just over, that was it for him. It was just
when he had the baby.
Yeah, right.
Now, you wrote the Coneheads.
With Dan Aykroyd.
With Danny Aykroyd. We did the Coneheads and all that.
Yeah.
When we see the Coneheads, and it's also in the book, what made you, what gave you that idea for the Coneheads? What human did you see?
What were you on?
What drug?
No. Or what did you see that was oblong and you know?
Oh, that was LSD. That
was
the
LSD.
hallucination of the foreheads going up. It was on Easter Island when we were inspired.
Yeah, that's
You owe me $10, Gary.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And that was 1976. So that was that era.
Now, you know, they keep saying in the book, it doesn't say poor Tom Davis in the book, but it keeps saying you live alone in the forest. And it says it throughout the book, and it even says it, in the little fly sheet and everything else. Tom Davis lives alone in a cabin in the woods.
Right.
And it says it so many times that it's not even a joke anymore. Do you live in some woods at a cabin?
Yeah, well, it's a old farmhouse.
But is it like this thing where you're there and we see the curl of smoke come from the chimney? And
from October to May, there's the curl of smoke.
And you have a typewriter, don't even have a computer.
And I also have a fireplace.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you have to drop out completely and be someplace where there are no dealers around you to stop your addiction?
Yeah, I have a creek on two sides of my property and a swimming hole. And I've been up and down that creek. I couldn't find one dealer.
In my opinion.
But I found something out, poppies that grow in everybody. It's labor intensive, but you can get juice out of it.
See, in my opinion, I think he's the winner in the end, not Al. Al's going to get stuck working for a bunch of a-holes.
Talk about labor intensive.
Yeah, man. He's just got a cabin. He's going to go chill,
but you know what?
plants.
Franken has always been a working guy.
Some people look for that.
He has that work ethic. Is that what you people call it? I don't know.
But also,
I don't know how you do it.
People make fun of senators and representatives that are all crooks and everything else. But generally, if you watch C-SPAN for any amount of time, they seem really smart, most of the people that are elected, even the ones you don't even like.
Oh, they're sophisticated. Yeah.
And so, but Al comes from a crazy state. The wrestler was elected. I think they've had prostitutes run for city council and stuff. So him being a comedian, did the guy use it against him in Minnesota?
Oh yeah. In fact, all my friends in Minnesota would send me the really vicious anti-Franken stuff. I've got it taped up on my refrigerator.
Did drugs come into play that he was?
No, because Coleman was a roadie for 10 years after at Woodstock.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is up
so
with
do you think he got a taste? I bet he did.
Absolutely.
But I did delay the publication of my book until after the election because I didn't want to be touring with Reverend Wright.
Yeah, right.
Well, there's nothing.
You see him and me at the bar in the airport,
Who opens? Who closes?
There's nothing, you talk about yourself and there's, I know Danny for a long time and, it's nothing nobody, knew, but the way you tell the stories and you talk about everything. But one of the sad things is it was a question on Jeopardy that changed your life. And
it was really funny because
were you in the cabin when this happened?
Yes, I was in the cabin, and I like watching Jeopardy. But this was at the time when Ken Jennings had been winning
major role
on the major, just all time.
Oh, he's been on this show, and I beat the crap out of him. But nonetheless, go ahead.
Well, and I was.
We got him drunk though.
We did.
I would love to meet Ken Jennings and drink with him. But the question came up, he was the comedy partner of Al Franken, and everybody was stumped, and I'm going, Tom Davis. Tom Davis. Come on, Ken. Tom Davis. And no, the answer was, who was Tom Davis? Tom Davis. And it was just a moment where I was like by myself going, come on, you guys.
It's me.
And do you start writing the book then?
Yes.
So you,
No, I'll tell you when I
you
started
looked at a show and realized no one knew who you were. This
Was the original?
You've ignited me. You've now ignited me.
Was the
no
original?
one knows who you are. No one gives a shit about you. So
Right.
write a book.
Yes, because if you want to get your movie done, you have to have 100 people share your vision. If you want to get a television show, maybe 50, 60 people have to share your vision. If you want to write a book, you can sit at the kitchen table and feed the birds.
Right. Right.
And take your time.
Was the original title F.U. Alex Trebek after you saw that?
No, I notice I have F.U. Johnny Carson as one of my chapters.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why that?
Just because of the experience that...
Do you mean it? Fuck you, Johnny Carson?
No, not actually Johnny. Just, we used to call it the Carson Show, and I was living in L.A., and it was the raison d'etre of every comedian was to get on the Carson Show. Mm-hmm. And I had the experience, and this is almost urban legend, Franken and I auditioned with Steve Lebetkin and one other comedian, and we all got rejected. And on the way back, Steve Lebetkin, who's a contemporary of ours, he had a good act.
Right.
And he was going, I can't believe it. I didn't get on Carson. That was my best stuff. And I go, F Johnny Carson. There'll be other things. And Lebetkin, a few days later, jumped off the Hyatt House and landed in the parking lot of
the comedy store.
Right, with a note. My name was Steve Lebetkin. I was a comedian. And Franken go, why did he do that? And I said, well, I guess he lost his sense of humor.
I remember that. I was, I was just starting out, and he took a leap from...
he had to really run to make it to the lot, too.
He did.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
Did he jump? He jumped for the hotel next to the...
Right.
You know the comedy store, don't you?
He had to go over that driveway to make it into the parking lot.
That's exactly right.
So he's dead then.
Oh, is he dead?
Oh. No, he scraped his knee. He got up. Everything
no, you know
was
what?
fine.
He's now parking cars there, Madison. Yeah. He's,
this memorial.
Did Johnny Carson know
He's
about
fine.
this?
He's fine. He does weather in Tacoma.
Of course, you know why I can bet no one sent a note or anything to Carson because you still wanted to be on the Johnny Carson show.
Well, that's why it's a whole chapter, but it's all about disasters. Trying to get on the Carson show, and we finally did when Jay Leno got on. But
it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
No, it's in the chapter. It counts, but it's
counts, but it doesn't.
It didn't have the same weight as when Johnny was hosting it.
Well, not in your eyes, I guess.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm asking, in your opinion.
No, well, everybody likes they still speak reverentially of Johnny Carson, so that a provocative title in my book kind of gets everybody's attention.
But as you get older, the thing about Carson was. By the way, Tom Davis is here. He was with Franken, Al Franken. Franken and Davis. He invented
a Jeopardy question. Everybody missed.
He invented Saturday Night Live. Started it. Wrote all the great stuff. And without him, there would be none of the shows.
He was tripping balls when he wrote
Chris Rock. None of them would have had a job. 39 years of short-term memory loss. Tom Davis.
How many sketches were written on hallucinogenics? How many created?
Really? Well, in the office, only once.
Right.
And that turned out to be the Final Days sketch with Nixon wandering through the White House, if you saw that.
I remember Nixon wandering
So once we did that, because we just didn't have any ideas, and it was midnight, and I said, let's just rip it, and it was like waking up and the shoes were all repaired.
Yeah.
The sun came up and somebody wrote that sketch. And everybody stayed out of the office that night. They'd walk in and go, ooh, and go right back out.
Now, when I first watched it, there was no promo. There was no nothing. I sit down, New York, it's 11:30, and the show comes on. They didn't promote it.
Did you see the very first one, Jay?
First week, I think. They didn't say the greatest comedy show, they just ran the show, right?
Right. And
so I thought, wow, this is really funny, and I'm glad they didn't promote it. I thought it'll have a chance, and all that stuff. And I wasn't even in television then. And I thought they had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it was funny stuff. But then as time went on and everybody became really, really big, was it hard to control John Belushi? I mean, he was loaded all the time and all that. I guess he had a huge ego. I don't know him personally, but he did one show of mine when I was in radio, and he had a shoebox filled with fucking cocaine, and I'm not joking.
Yeah, but it
size
was
shit.
bad blow.
It was.
It was
And
always bad.
And Danny Aykroyd
With salt?
didn't do any of it.
He died of salt
Well,
overdose.
it's just it's quantity. You know, it's
Right,
quantity
right.
versus
Am I
quality.
wrong? Am I wrong that he had some sort of a box that he would carry with him?
Doug Kenny used to carry around just a bag full of it.
Awesome.
And just you know.
RKO Radio made me edit out the sniffing because he wasn't really doing it, but his nose, and so he would talk and go like that.
Wow.
We had to go in for 2 hours and edit it out.
I wrote a little thing for him. He played the part of Steve Rebell once, and we cut to him. He just had the white under his nose.
Jesus.
But at the end of the sketch, he picked up a powder sugar donut and ate it.
Did you guys?
You know what I'm saying?
So the question is, did you have trouble after a while?
I never had trouble with John Belushi. He was a fun finder, and I would follow him anywhere. We had so much fun.
But on the show, there was a time when the bits didn't have an end.
Yes, but he'd always, if you put him in a sketch, he might not know his lines well enough, but he would succeed with his performance, with the energy that he brought. And he just kept escaping all the time until one day he didn't.
Did you ever, like with Farley, did you guys ever try and do an intervention with him about anything?
I actually did have that experience, but when I'm intervening, you're in real trouble.
Right.
You know?
Jesus.
And I did.
Were you loaded during the intervention?
Well, it was during the last party at the end of the 1994 season, and I was leaving, and I went up to.
You were there all those years?
No, when Lauren left, I left. When Lauren came back, I came back, and then I left in 1994 because I just had to leave and do something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Go live in a house in the woods.
I was thinking the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Little house in the woods. And, so I intervened with Chris. I said, this Belushi obsession you have is really creepy. You don't want to die like John. He goes, oh no, that'd be cool.
Oh.
And,
he said that would be cool.
Yeah,
So he was gone.
I was at the Aspen Comedy Festival, and Chris was sawing a hand. His mother, father, and I guess his two brothers were there, and they left.
Yeah.
And he died soon after that because, have you ever been to that Aspen Comedy Festival thing? They'd have a buffet for everybody and you would do your shows and then we could all eat together and then you go back and do your shows.
No, invite me. I'll show up.
Well, they quit. Everything I do, they stop. So
he was fired on the way to a new job. In the car.
I was
my man.
Yeah,
You're
right.
on my team.
I was 2 weeks in Philadelphia and then as I'm going to the next job, they fired me on the phone.
You didn't even get that.
But the thing is, he got out of hand and his family left. And I guess tried to get him to, turn him, whatever it was. But he couldn't stop.
He couldn't.
A nice guy, too. A sweet man.
Very sweet man. And we all loved him. He was wonderful, but he didn't have, he was nearly illiterate.
Wow.
He could barely read you could barely read scripts.
Show business.
Do you still watch the show today? Because I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, I always find a gem somewhere.
I think they're
I
terrific.
think they're great right now.
Fred
really,
Armisen's
really
going to
do.
be a big star, and
Kristen Wiig is
wonderful.
unbelievable.
No, it's a great cast.
Did they think that you're too old to write for Saturday Night Live now?
No, but they have so many talented writers over there that they really aren't looking for old guest writers to come over, except to just stand there and say, "Yep, this used to be my office, and then I was over there, and then that was
pushing the wheelchair through.
Right.
All right. Tom Davis, 39 years of short-term memory loss. 888 Stern 101. We have at least two people who remember you, Tom. Joe of New Jersey, the Jay Thomas Show. Yes, Joe. How are you?
Wow, you have a legend sitting there, first of all, and I'm just wondering if I can't wait for the book to come out. And are you going to do a book signing?
The book is out, and I have
Is
done
this your
some book
fucking
signing.
publicist? Okay, this is the publicist.
This is
the oldest.
This guy is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, the book is out and it's available, and if it's not, there's always Amazon. But it should be out there unless they've sold out, which is my kind of problem.
Now, one thing you see in the book is you, and I've only met him once and didn't like him either. You hate Robert Downey Jr.
Well, I would be thrilled to meet him now, but he was a very young man
Maybe
when
he's
he came
changed.
in, and he just had no inkling what that show was about, and he wasn't interested in learning about how to do it.
Why was he on that show?
Because he was young, and Lauren likes to keep the show young. But Robert Downey Jr., you can't take anything away from him now. He's one of the most talented actors in the world. But when he came to the show, he didn't know the craft and didn't learn it very well, and he made my life miserable while he was there. So. But I'm sure I'd love to see him again.
Well, I don't think after this chapter he's going to want to see you. It's just he's not going to want to see you.
Oh, I bet he will.
Anthony Michael Hall came on there.
Well, they came together.
Right.
Lauren got those two together. And
he was a funny kid.
Walked them around like
Anthony
fools.
Michael Hall, right?
Yeah.
Was he funny at least?
No, the two of them were like high school bullies
dead
with a
weights
substitute
on that show,
teacher.
Man.
Well, they made each other giggle all the time, and they thought they could get through sketches that way.
Well, what about Jimmy Fallon? He never kept a straight face once.
Jimmy Fallon was wonderful. I like Jimmy Fallon.
Except he doesn't stop laughing.
Well, that's now he's got his own show.
Yeah.
He's still laughing.
We're still laughing now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, some old comics used to say that they didn't like Saturday Night Live because they never thought the people doing the bits were funny. They didn't seem to be enjoying each other telling jokes. I know this from like Tom Poston, believe it or not. And
I know who Tom Poston was. I love Tom Poston.
But Tom used to say he didn't like Saturday Night Live because
the thing about Steve Allen is he used to crack up all the time.
That's what I mean. And
Lauren has a culture over there of like, do not crack up on the air. Now, if you do crack up on the air, he'll forgive you if
it's
the
not the end
audience
of the world, right?
But he doesn't want people trying to crack each other up. And that's one of his
Farley was
credos.
real good at making them all because nobody could keep a straight face.
Well, when he took his shirt off and you see the stomach and all. I mean,
he was the guy with the van by the river, and David Spade, he couldn't. It was really hard for David Spade to keep a straight face. That was a good sketch.
Lewis, New Orleans, the Jay Thomas Show. Tom Davis here used to be with Al Franken. Is there going to be a place for you in Al Franken's staff or speechwriter?
No, but I hope I get to visit. Maybe he'll,
All right. And
show
then
me
if the book doesn't go before we talk to Lewis, is it you just go back to the cabin? I mean, I want to hug you. It's like, I'm just sorry you have to go back to the cabin.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go back to the cabin and
it's okay.
Read the paper. Yeah.
All right, good.
Well, he has TV because he watches SNL.
That's right. Lewis, New Orleans, yes, sir. Tom Davis is here. Go ahead.
Hey, the movie Trading Places. Were you the guy with the monkey with Al Franken?
That's right. Now, that part, it was supposed to be Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas were supposed to do that. And they had some conflict, so Danny talked Landis into hiring us. And we sat around for 2 weeks, in costume and makeup, waiting. And finally, the knock came on our trailer. Okay, the director wants you on the set. And we went out there, and there's Landis with his hands on his hips. He goes, okay, you guys, what do you want to do? We go, well, we haven't seen a script. How's my hair? He says, hair's fine. There is no script. You're supposed to be the funny guys. Make it up. So we improvised our scenes.
Oh, wow.
Well, many people said that Landis was so loaded when they were shooting the helicopter movie that killed the Vietnamese kids and all that. And I mean,
I doubt that. He was not, he doesn't seem to
remember all that, the trial and all that? And there was rumors that he was loaded?
It was a terrible tragedy. And,
Vic Morrow's head was lopped off.
I don't think there was any drugs anywhere near that. That was just, I wouldn't want to go on the set with the helicopter though.
No.
You might be asking for trouble there.
Right.
Now, I've been to Amsterdam, and you've been to Amsterdam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did you, it was so easy to go in and get drugs everywhere, and everyone was tall and beautiful. You were arrested in Amsterdam.
No, I went with a friend, and there was some street person came up to him, and he purchased something. I was about 50 feet away, and 2 cops swooped in and grabbed them both and took them to a police station. And I was standing outside going, God, I gotta have to get a lawyer or something. And my friend comes out with this big grin on his face. He said, the cop he gave me a map to where to go buy good drugs.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He said, don't buy from those people. It's not good drugs. Here's where to go.
Yeah.
The cops told you of a better, was it near Anne Frank's place?
Not that far.
Jay.
Well, that's a good part of town.
I saw
that's really tasteless.
That's
a good part of town.
It's
I was down
It's
there.
right on the canal.
Those guys are hanging out in all the streets.
When you go to Amsterdam, Madison,
and I did not smoke pot by Anne Frank's
everybody
house.
says the same thing. First, you go to Anne Frank's house, then you go to the right of that,
and the Heineken Brewery.
Exactly,
Van Gogh Museum.
I walked over to Anne Frank's house, and I was going to go in, but I was laughing from eating mushrooms.
No, you weren't.
Not at Anne Frank, just laughing in general. I was walking through the streets of Amsterdam
thank God
laughing.
you knew it wasn't appropriate.
Tom Davis, 39 years of short-term memory loss. You can call 888-STERN-101. Shuli is here, and I'm the main host. I got the short straw again. Madison is here, and it's the Jay Thomas Show.
Howard 101.
Jay Thomas.
The subject is show is terrible. Hey, Dave.
That's Jay Thomas, the host.
He's the idol of every...
He says what he wants and how he wants it all the time.
It's the weirdest and the wildest.
Jay Thomas Show. Horrible.
Oh, that's so good.
I say it before you say it. That's how you win. The Jay Thomas Show, Shuli, Madison are here. 39 years of short-term memory loss. Tom Davis from SNL. He was there from the very beginning. Al Franken writes the forward to it. Al of Manhattan, the Jay Thomas Show. Tom Davis. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thank you, Al.
Good morning.
Good. Hey, Tom, I wondered if you could tell me what kind of influence, if any, the Grateful Dead had to your writing, and then can you maybe tell a story about when you might have hung out with John Belushi and he was loaded? Take care.
Yes and yes.
You and Garcia wrote a script?
We wrote a screenplay for our favorite book, which was The Sirens of Titan.
Oh, it's a good
by
one.
Kurt Vonnegut. And so I did spend a lot of time with Jerry over a couple of years writing that. And he was a genuine wit. The man was hilarious.
Now, some people didn't like him.
Well, some people don't like the Grateful Dead just because.
But some people say that he wasn't as great a guy, and
no, he was the greatest man I ever met.
Okay, cool,
absolutely,
right.
And self-educated, brilliant, never at a loss for words, generous, and non-material.
And the movie, I don't know. What's the book about? What's the? Is there a plot?
A plot to this is a huge plot. It's Kurt Vonnegut's brilliant book that uses the whole solar system for a backdrop, and cosmic jokes, really huge cosmic jokes. It's a brilliant book.
Would they make it now?
No, they didn't want to make. I actually had a meeting with Jerry Garcia, Bill Murray, Michael Ovitz, Gary Gutierrez, who was doing our storyboards, and we were ready to do this film. And during the I read in some other book where Gary Gutierrez was quoted. I didn't remember this, but during the meeting, Bill Murray was putting his mouth on the edge of the table like a pocket on a pool table, and I was rolling candies across the table. I don't know why it never got done. But Jerry also liked the first draft, which was about 200 pages too long.
Right.
So we just didn't. It just never got done.
Now, it happens now. You guys get together on Monday and you pitch everything you want to do on the next Saturday.
You're talking about Saturday night?
Yeah. You pitch everything you want to do the next Saturday.
Well, usually you fritter away Monday because you're so exhausted from the week before, and you pretend like you have ideas so the host doesn't panic. Then you
meet the host.
Meet the host. You pitch ideas even though they may not be good. You pretend they're good,
right?
Because you'll panic the next day around dinner time, and then you'll stay up all night and make something work.
So they have someone like Lance Armstrong. Pick somebody from your time that they had that wasn't funny at all.
Nancy Kerrigan, she was terrible.
You had Nancy Kerrigan. Did you write for Nancy Kerrigan?
No, I was not there for Nancy Kerrigan. I have, in the first couple of years, we had a spate of shows with, like Broderick Crawford.
The old
ones. And it was really working well for us because, they didn't have to be in every sketch. They didn't want to be in every sketch.
And they were old and kind of drunk, weren't they? Didn't Broderick Crawford have a
I had
glass with him
in that movie, My Favorite Year, which is the closest any movie's come to portraying what it's like on Saturday Night Live. it was the job of some writer to keep Peter O'Toole from getting drunk. I had that job on St. Patrick's Day on a Wednesday. They sent Broderick Crawford and Gary Weiss, who was our film maker at the time, to do a short documentary of Broderick Crawford going to his old haunts on St. Patrick's Day. And they said, Tom, try to keep him sober. We got to do promos when you come back, and we're going to block one sketch. And of course, we came back smashed. And the people were going, oh my God, it's going to be a disaster. We've got an alcoholic on the show. Well, he was slurring a little bit for the promos, but he remembered the blocking. He didn't drink for the rest of the week. He did the show. He hit every mark, hit every line. He got the changes between dress and air. He was brilliant. And he called up on Monday and said it was the greatest experience of his life.
Who
and
is
made
he?
Gilda cry.
Broderick Crawford was, you ever heard of, he was a great actor, but then he ended up being on Highway Patrol, 10-4, and just an old famous actor. And the thing is they were better, I think.
Born Yesterday with Billie Holiday.
Right. Rent that. You'll love that.
Yeah.
Born, but the thing is do you think the old timers were better at acting drunk or loaded or whatever than the new group of drug addicts and alcoholics?
Well, if you're comparing the present Saturday Night Live with the past, I think
entertainers in general,
they do it now on Ritalin and Krispy Kreme donuts.
Right. It's a whole different set of drugs.
So it's a different thing.
So then Tuesday would come, and would you have to vie for like Joe Piscopo was a friend of mine for forever and ever.
Yeah.
And I remember him getting pissed off. He'd want to try to do something, and they'd say no. And you were all vying, and then there was some backstabbing later on. Maybe not in your group, but you really wanted your bit to get on the air that week, right?
Right. Well, when the show started, there were like 9 or 10 writers. Right now, they have 30 writers, and it's musical chairs, and it's still the same number of chairs. So, I mean, it must be
horrible.
Well, it's a lot of competition. I mean, you have to get your stuff on the air, or you won't be there long. So,
and don't the actors have to write stuff as well?
They usually do.
Yeah.
Do you shout it out? Do you hand it in? How do you get your voice heard?
There's probably a head writer.
Well, there's a head writer, and there's a lot of collaboration that goes on. And Steve Higgins is the producer over there, and he is a masterful writer himself, and he works with those people.
And I think Seth Meyers, right?
Seth Meyers. I don't think Update's ever been in better hands than it is now with Seth Meyers. He's brilliant. Yeah, he's wonderful. So I watch the show all the time.
What was the skit that I know that was controversial? It was somethingville. It's in was it
Sex Offenderville?
Sex Offenderville would be Pedophileville now.
Right.
They wouldn't let you run it?
Well, no, I wrote the sketch. It never made it past read through it. Here's why. Well, it was the idea.
Sex Offenderville.
It occurred to me, hey, wait a minute, where are these sex offenders? They never want them in my backyard kind of thing. So they should just have a whole town. And there's great prices on rent and and mortgages, you know. So you attract people, but every once in a while, the person who's showing you the house says, "Oh, by the way, I have to tell you, I inappropriately touched a Boy Scout troop once, you know." But look over here. Here's the bathroom, and you know. And I just made the mistake of putting Lauren's his first son had just been born, and I used his name in the sketch.
Oh, wow.
You used the little baby's name?
I shot myself in the foot. So why did I do that? I don't know why I did.
What was the child's name? What is the child?
I shouldn't say that.
And I mean, you would just say, "I touched little Bobby," or you?
Yeah. Dagger.
No. I just used Lauren's newborn son's name by accident in the sketch. And
by accident?
Maybe it's a common name.
Look, I was trying. It took me years to get fired. It really did. I did my best, and finally I got fired.
John, Massachusetts, the Jay Thomas Show. Tom Davis is here. Hey, John, how are you?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, Tom, you did a movie with Franken. One More Saturday Night, something like that?
Yes, I did.
I thought that was a great movie.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Do you live in the woods alone, John? Do you live all by yourself?
No, I live in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my favorite part in that movie was Al and I played members of a band that were playing at a bar, and Jerry Garcia produced the music for that bar scene and for whenever the band had to play. And I was having trouble with my solo, so Jerry plugged in a Steinberger right into the board, did one take, and it's a great solo. And it looks like I'm playing it, and that's my favorite moment.
One more Saturday night. I have to tell you, I never even saw it.
No, it's the only time I've agreed with Leonard Maltin, and he starts with "bomb" is the way he described it, and it was awful.
Who wrote the movie that I think did Letterman have a small part in it? And they joked about it on Saturday Night Live for years. About the
Cabin Boy.
Cabin Boy. Who wrote Cabin Boy?
Oh, that was Adam Sandler.
So he wrote, that was many
Adam
years.
Sandler and Rob Schneider and those guys did that. And wasn't that wonderful?
Yeah, the big bump.
I never saw that.
Jamie of Columbus, Ohio, the Jay Thomas Show with Tom Davis. Yes, Jamie, how are you?
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Good.
I got a question. Tom, did you ever watch this show, Sunset Strip, on NBC a couple years ago?
Studio 60.
Oh, I thought you were talking...
Yeah, Studio 60.
Oh, yes, I did see some of that.
I liked
yeah,
it.
it was wonderful.
How accurate is that compared to what really goes on?
Well, it's as accurate as a television show representing something else. I mean, everything is an interpretation, but it did have resonance when I watched it. I did recognize that they had a Lorne figure and that they had the network, and but I didn't watch it enough to really make an intelligent commentary on it, except that it did interest me.
Gary Shandling did the best behind the scenes of a show ever done.
Yeah.
The Larry Sanders Show.
Yeah.
Only because I do, talk shows and stuff like that.
Well, Dick Van Dyke did a pretty good one.
But don't you think Larry Sanders, about how they talked about real people and what they thought of the guest and the shit that was going on and everybody screwing everybody and
yeah.
I mean, he was really screwing a woman on the show in real life.
That's right.
Who, at the end of the thing, he had to get rid of because he was screwing her on the show. I mean, they actually did,
I liked it more for that, too. I like that dimension.
Now, in your book, there's not a whole bunch of affairs and sex and who's screwing who and all of that stuff.
I allude to it, but
yes.
I try to be discreet because I reveal things about myself first, and I try to be respectful of my friends.
Right, so you didn't want to give up any...
Well, I say that so-and-so dated so-and-so, but there's only one actual description of lovemaking in the book.
Well, Danny opened a bar for you guys to hang out at after the show.
Yes.
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
After party, yeah.
Bought a bar, and you would go there. Of course, the bar became incredibly famous, right?
It did, but we had a security system. It was designed for all of us to decompress. Because the party after the show became too big and you couldn't get a drink fast enough, and it was too crowded. So Danny got a bar where he could keep his motorcycle, and we had musical instruments, and just the inner circle could go there and unwind. And if somebody got in who didn't belong there and didn't behave himself, then he got thrown out.
Nice. But was it a cash bar? You had to pay for the drinks?
No.
So Danny just opened it, spent his own money, and
right. Exactly.
Did you ever offer to pay? Like, Danny, can we throw you a few $100 because you're footing the bill for this?
Danny's been picking up my tab since 1975.
Right. Now you're completely clean now. No booze, no heroin, no.
Well, what have you got?
But I'm saying, I hate addiction because it ruins drugs for others. It really does. It gives drugs.
I don't recommend getting strung out on heroin. Okay. I don't think it's a good idea.
But didn't you write with Jerry Garcia? And were you both on heroin when you were writing the movie?
Yeah.
It was a good movie, wasn't it? You think it could be made? It was fabulous.
It could have, but it didn't get done.
Right. Never got finished?
Never got finished. Yeah. So it was one of those projects that didn't get done. And
out of all the Stones, and I've never done heroin, what does heroin make you feel like? And we know what it's like to be pot or coke or
and
crack.
how long does it last?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you what. Stay where you are. The Jay Thomas Show. Tom Davis is here. 39 years of short-term memory loss. We'll find out what heroin feels like next.
Can't wait.
Jay Thomas.
It's the weirdest and the wildest.
Check 1, 2. Testing.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Jay Thomas Show.
The scene is wrong.
I like it.
This is what it sounds like. Howard 101. Yes.
Damn, the promos are better than the whole show. Tom Davis is here. 39 years of short-term memory loss. It's about Saturday Night Live. Before we went away for a few minutes, the difference between you have to put something on your arm, make the vein pop out.
I never used a needle, ever. I got in trouble just snorting.
Now,
and you can get in.
Wait a minute. What? Now, what about the band? I think it was an Average White Band, or one of the, and there was a guy hanging out with them, and he sold them heroin, saying it was cocaine. The drummer died, and Cher gave mouth to mouth. It was at a party to somebody and brought him back to life. If you can imagine that, do Cher giving somebody mouth to mouth, Madison.
Oh, I gotta give somebody mouth to mouth.
There you go. It's very close to Saturday Night Live, right?
Down.
There you go. Hire her. And I always thought if you snorted coke, you would die. Well, apparently not, but
no, you have a little more control over it that way because you can go incrementally.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The band that they put the guy in jail.
The Average White Band.
Was it the Average White Band? Yeah, right. And they all.
But that stuff happens. I once had my briefcase stolen at that time. I hope whoever stole it
is dead.
Yeah,
of course. I feel the same way. Yeah. So how would
because there was heroin in there?
There's some dangerous drugs.
What's it feel like?
Well, here's how you get addicted: is it feels really good,
right?
And then you do it. You go the next day.
But
and you say, you know what? I felt great, and I got that. I did such good writing on it. I think I'll do it again. And then it's like I don't feel so good today. Let me do some more. Oh, now I feel good again. And then it takes more and more to do it, and then eventually you have to do it to feel good, and then when you try to quit, you go into withdrawal, which is very unpleasant.
But is it like I'm sorry, like it's just euphoric.
Yeah, that's how you get addicted to it because it feels so good. But it's seductive that way, and that's why it's dangerous.
If this was a regular, terrestrial radio station, give us a call now at 888-STERN-101. Tell us about your heroin experience, and we get the calls in. But. You just talked about the Average White Band and doing the thing and the guy dies. How did you know how to do enough that you wouldn't die? I don't.
Well, usually, when someone dies like that, everybody else wants to get some of that. That's like,
that would drive you to want to do
all
it.
The junkies want to get some of that. Wow, somebody died.
Do you remember that incident?
I do. I wasn't there, but yes, that's
and
like
did it make you want to get more?
It didn't affect me at all. There was nothing stopping me at the time. But I did quit, and it was difficult. It took a few years in a methadone clinic. So.
Oh, you had to go into the clinic.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's such a inconvenient, awful place to go that you'll quit.
And when you look around at the other people that are addicted, don't they seem so below you in stature that you can't believe you're in that group?
In my methadone clinic, I had one lady said, "Oh, you worked on Saturday Night Live. Oh, you're a celebrity. There's some woman in here who knew the unicorn murderer in Philadelphia. You should meet that person."
What?
So
another celebrity in here.
So you and the unicorn murderer friend were,
right.
Wow, I don't know. I mean, I've tasted and done. I've been around all kind of people and get in trouble and everything else. And I have friends to this day that are all completely loaded all the time. But it took you 2 years to believe you could still write without being on it, or 2 years to get off of it that you felt okay.
There's no excuse for it. You can write no matter what.
Some comics think they're not going to be funny if they go to therapy. You know that, of course. Like Richard Lewis used to say, "Gee, if I get fixed, I'm not going to be, funny."
Right? I couldn't fathom Richard Lewis. I don't know, and I've forgotten the question now. But yes.
Did you think you couldn't write if you weren't loaded?
No. I could write without it, but it just that's not how I got addicted. I got addicted because I could.
Right.
And it's not a good idea. So that's my.
What's the greatest thing you wrote on heroin?
Oh, I wrote a lot of great stuff.
I always thought at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, instead of all the bullshit they have in front, there ought to be a big needle as you pull in, a big giant syringe in Cleveland, and it just,
it's a great idea.
So, all right. Well, listen.
Right next to the guitar.
Hold on one second. Thomas of Staten Island, before we go, he has a drug question. Yes, Thomas, go ahead.
Yes, I want to know if he ever speedballed. And ain't that the greatest?
Speedball. Isn't that how John Belushi died?
Well, that we all did that because it was up and down at the same time, which is still my favorite. But
you put heroin in one nostril,
once
and coke
again,
in the other
I
nostril?
just snorted. I never used needles, but it was you do the. If you start getting sleepy, then you do some of the cocaine, and if you want to mellow out, then you do some of the other, and then pretty soon you're mixing it together, and
we had a kid on
going
here.
To the methadone.
We had a kid on here who is now a college student in Ohio, and he was a murderer when he was a Tutsi or a Hutu, and he helped kill others and everything else, and they gave him brown. You know what brown is?
I heard that.
Gunpowder,
right,
mixed with heroin and cocaine. Mix it with friggin'
delicious.
Can you imagine? Yeah, putting that on your tongue, and they would get them all loaded up, and now they'd put the gunpowder in the. Now does that make you want to shoot a gun? I don't know, but that's what it was called, brown. So now, when
never tried that.
Did you have the deliveries right at Saturday Night Live? Where would Well,
that's another problem. If you're going to get addicted, you have to have 3 dealers because 2 of them are screwing up at the same time. So you got to juggle 3.
You know what? Would you write a book about I don't do it anymore, but here it's like a handbook, because drugs are still really big,
They are. I did. That is one of the themes in my book. I do describe, how to smoke opium, and I did describe this preparation that Garcia and I did, and I blacked out important words because it was too serious. And it became funny. Then we put the into the beaker and held it over the flame until.
You mean you two together?
Mm-hmm.
And did you have a Bunsen burner or a
Bic lighters and aluminum foil and beakers and baking soda?
Did you look up and go, I'm with Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead? I mean, you were doing it was something that.
Well, we were pals at that point.
Millions of people,
but he was a lot of his people close to him were really upset about his addiction, and I was the guy who was sitting there with him, and so I was aware of the controversy that was.
Did you come close to dying ever?
Yeah, and I was waiting to score some heroin, and when I was 33 years old, and somebody gave me a hit off a crack pipe, and I woke up on the floor, a pool of spittle, and the other junkies were talking about what to do with my body and how to get rid of it, and I got up and said good night, clicked my heels, turned around, and went out.
Wow!
But that was the last time I took a hit off a crack pipe.
But was it really crack?
Yeah, it was really good. My last words would have been, what a rush.
And then you'd have been gone.
Yeah, at 33.
Wow.
Which is how old Belushi was. Belushi and Jesus.
And Jesus.
You think Jesus did a bad hit of crack and that was it? And then, the whole cross thing.
Anything to not blame the Jews. He was high on crack.
All right. Dennis of New Jersey. Then we'll let Tom Davis get out of here. Yes, Dennis, go ahead.
Good morning, guys. Love the show.
Thanks.
Tom, I wanted to ask you what drugs you were on when you opened up for the Dead at Radio City in 1980. It's a great DVD.
I don't remember specifically when we opened up, but we had a sketch where the conceit was, while I had a plastic glass of beer in my hand, that the Grateful Dead had urine samples that were going to have to legally be tested. And I got my beer mixed up with the urine sample, and I took a swig and go, boy, that Heineken's really warm. And then, when we did the show, somebody made sure that there was lots of LSD, and we did a thing about LSD comes out in the urine. So the conceit was I drink the urine and then I get high on acid. Well, they put so much acid in my little apple juice.
They really put
it in. So I was method acting for the rest of the night. Wow. That was the conceit, was that I was
at Radio City.
At Radio City, and I did a striptease in front of the audience and climbed up the proscenium.
Dennis, were you there?
I was not there. I saw my first show that year, but it was at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Yeah, they were great at the Garden.
Is there and there's film of this?
Yes. DVD called Dead Ahead, and I recommend picking it up.
Sure.
Tom's great on it.
You got to sell it with the book. 39 years of short-term memory loss. And Bill of Florida. Yes, Bill, go ahead. Your question for Tom. Yeah.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Shuli, Madison, Jay. Love the show.
Yes,
Real
sir.
quick.
I had a question about, were the suits at NBC and Lorne Michaels, like, were they aware of how out of control everybody was, and did they ever try and do anything about it?
Yes. I mean, in 1986, everything came to a halt, and when Belushi died, that was kind of the end of the party. So, yeah, there was no more pot smoking in NBC,
in the building.
In the building after 19, well, I don't know. I wasn't there. I left in 1980, but I think that everything stopped like that.
Then you had, was it Jane Dominion or somebody? What's her name?
Jane Dominion, took over.
Right. And then she locked herself in an office at the end of her, is that a true story that to get her out of the building that she didn't want to leave? Or?
Oh, I don't know about that. I just remember that she took a lot of abuse from everybody. But she walked into that buzzsaw.
Yeah, it was thankless.
Yeah,
right. It's like me following Howard on this morning show.
Right.
Yeah, it's freaking thankless. All right, thanks. Tom Davis was with Al Franken for years, and the early days of Saturday Night Live from someone who was there. Emmy Award-winning writer, lives in a little cabin now in the middle of the woods. 39 years of short-term memory loss. Tom, thank you very much.
I love your show, and I'm getting Sirius Radio installed in my little cabin.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm going to be listening to this show every day.
My normal show is on noon to what is it?
3 to 6.
Thank you.
3 to 6.
3 to 6 in the
another
afternoon.
channel.
You guys are fantastic.
108 and 139.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
a great audience, too.
I have to tell you something. You and Sean Kelly almost look like you could be related in some
little
way.
bit.
A little bit.
He is handsome.
He's a handsome guy. All right. Ira, the weatherman is on the way. Also, the woman with the greatest, job in the world. She's just going to snorkel in Australia. And we'll have Sean Hannity, but we wanted to give almost an hour between Tom Davis and Sean Hannity. It is the Jay Thomas Show.
It's not so cold.
Famous for roles on Murphy Brown.
This man is making a sexual dance of my wife.
One leg over my shoulder.
Are you talking about shaved assholes and your kids in the car?
The Jay Thomas Show. Howard 101.
Sean Hannity will be calling us in a little while, and then I'm doing the what do they call it? America's Panel or something tonight?
Hannity's America?
Hannity's America, but he has a panel.
Oh, it's not Hannity and Combs anymore?
No, it hasn't been Hannity and Combs.
No more. He got axed.
He did. He got axed. They didn't need a liberal. What's the difference, Ira the Weatherman, between a liberal and a conservative? That people you've heard
conservatives are better than the liberals.
They're better people.
Yes.
But wait a minute, you voted for Obama.
Yeah, you voted for the liberal.
I voted for the liberal because the liberal was better than the conservative.
So sometimes a liberal is better than a conservative, but generally a conservative
is better than a liberal.
Okay, that's good. Gotcha. Now, why would a conservative be better than a liberal? Why would you say that?
Well, a conservative, they know what to do.
I see. And then the liberal, what is
Bloomberg,
the mayor of New
was
York,
a conservative.
People like him.
Right.
But I'm telling you this.
What?
Next time we have to vote for mayor, Bloomberg isn't doing that great. Know why?
Why?
I like him.
Because they want to raise everything. They want to cut things in the city, and this is no good.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right now something that has affected you, Shuli, and Madison. They're raising the subway and the bus fares.
Bloomberg's against it.
Now, wait a minute, though. There's a woman that's sleeping with Paul McCartney. What is her name?
Chevelle. Nancy Chevelle.
Nancy Chevelle. The headline was, I'm doing a Beatle, and I don't have enough time to go to the meeting. Did you know that? She didn't even vote on the meeting.
Nice.
And she's screwing Paul McCartney.
Wait a minute. Is she somebody who's important to...
She is on the MTA.
Oh,
she's on the board.
You didn't explain that.
Yeah, she's on the board, and she didn't make the vote, and they raised the rates and all that.
Damn her.
Do you think a woman on the board of the Metropolitan Transit Authority, Ira, should be screwing Paul McCartney?
Yes.
Okay, well, I just want to check on that.
Yes.
Yes, you should. So screwing doesn't bother you that she missed a meeting because she was in bed with Paul? Or
No way.
Doesn't bother you at all. And that's because you love music.
I love music.
Mm-hmm.
I like Paul McCartney.
Right.
And the Beatles.
So if a woman is with him, and then you're not going to be angry.
Anything he wants to do,
it's fine.
He can do.
Do you think you ought to have that turkey meat taken away from his chin?
No.
Oh, you like that too? Okay. Mike of Columbus, the Jay Thomas Show. It's 888-STERN-101. Before we go another step further, Ira, what's the weather in Columbus, Ohio?
Columbus, Ohio, it's going to be around 57 degrees.
Any rain? Anything?
No rain over there.
No rain over there. Okay, fine. Mike of Columbus. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, I was calling to see, for the more casual listener, do you think you could give us a little more in-depth perspective about Ira? Like more information?
You mean where I met Ira, where Ira came from?
Yeah, basically, just a little rundown. Because,
Former CIA sniper.
Yes, exactly.
Secret Service bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Ran a bowling alley for a couple years.
Yeah, he's retired from the Secret. How long were you with the Secret Service?
I was with the New York City Health and Hospital Corporation for 34 years.
How many people did you have to shoot when you were with the SWAT team?
Around 29 people.
Shot 29 people with the SWAT team.
One day.
Right.
29.
29 people with the SWAT team, and he doesn't use a map. He doesn't use Doppler. He just knows the weather all over the world, not just the United States.
Well, he's on point. I got to say, he's probably the best weatherman I've ever heard before.
All right, there you go.
Thank you.
That's Mike of Columbus.
And remember, when you come into New York City, stop at the 7 C's up in the Bronx.
I didn't know how he was going to do it. Okay.
But he did it.
You know what? They got to start buying time here.
Yeah, it's not really right.
All right. Mark of Texas, the Jay Thomas Show. You're calling from what city in Texas, Mark?
I'm going to Waco to shoot again for this weekend.
Okay, cool. To shoot again, what do you mean?
Last weekend I called you. Last Friday I called you about the same time and said needed a weather report. Now I need it again for Waco again. We're shooting another 3-gun match.
Oh, that's right. You're like a quick draw guy and all that. And we talked about my son, the gunsmith, and I'm from Kermit, Texas, and all. He's going to a 6-gun shootout kind of a thing.
No, 3-gun.
3-gun
in
shootout.
Texas.
Yes.
It's going to be around 65 degrees.
That's the entire state.
The whole state. Yeah, the whole state.
65, beautiful weather.
What's the wind going to do?
Wind.
The wind is going to be 25 miles an hour.
Wow.
Ask him 500-yard shot, 55 grain, Sierra ballistic bullet. Where should I hold?
500 yards, 25 grain.
55.
55 grain. What's the ballistics of it?
Hannity.
Hannity. Should he? You're asking for a name of degrees, right and left?
Yeah, just the windage. What should I hold for wind?
500.
500. You know what he's talking about. Don't pretend. All right? 500. 500. Let's go to Jim. He was a cop in St. Louis. Yes, Jim. Welcome to the Jay Thomas Show. How are you? St. Louis weather? Ira the weatherman?
55 degrees.
55 degrees. Unbelievable.
Didn't even have to think
All
about
right.
it.
Yeah,
will the cops in St. Louis gun down somebody this weekend, Ira? Can you see that in the weather?
They might gun down a few people.
They might be a few.
Acting very, very bad.
Crime.
They might do that.
Jim, before we go another step further, why is it that the police have to shoot people so many times? In L.A., where I usually work, or back here in New York, where I am, and Garrett backed me up on this, it's usually 50, 60 shots, isn't it?
At least, yeah.
Guy coming out of a strip club 4 o'clock in the morning, he doesn't need to be shot 55 times.
You'd think 7.
Twice.
7.
What's that, Jim, in St. Louis?
So we want to make sure that they're dead.
That's a good answer. They want to make sure that they're dead. Shuli?
Makes sense.
Makes sense. I thought yeah.
Nothing's worse than a pissed off person that just got shot that can fire back at you.
That's exactly right. So make sure they're gone. Now, when you pull the trigger of the average service weapon, does it just keep firing, or do you have to pull the trigger a lot of times?
No, it's semi-automatic.
Oh, it's semi. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got to really think to shoot somebody 40, 50 times.
No, they the training it's the training that's reactive so that you don't think. That way you react to the situation more out of what they call it, not habit, but a trained reaction.
Now,
because if you have to think about it, most people don't want to kill another person.
Right.
So that's why when you go to the rifle range or you go to BRM,
what's BRM? What does that mean?
Basic rifle marksmanship.
I do that, asshole.
Yeah.
So you're basically taught to respond to the situation. Is what you are.
Now on TV, when they have the gun and they hold it with the two hands and they go around the corner and they kind of keep their elbows in, is that the way you're trained? Does it look real in the movies?
That's the way we do it. Yeah.
All right. Denzel Washington, when he plays a cop, he's always, got the elbows together and he's around.
They always hop.
Yeah, he's always hopping and they go around the corner. They go fast around the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the one time I shot somebody, the gun when it came out of the holster, I shot it one-handed, but
wow.
By the third shot, I was in the proper position. And
did you kill the guy?
No, he didn't die. I wouldn't admit that on air anyway. That was 10 years ago.
Well,
it was a whacked out crack. It was a whacked out crack whore.
He was a crack whore. What was she coming at you with? A syringe or?
No, she came at me with a 9mm.
Wow.
So,
I could care less. You want to hear the truth? I could.
What?
If you killed a crack whore, it is fine with me. If I was the mayor of St. Louis, I would give you a ham. I would give you a ham and a day off. And I would say I don't know why I said that, but you know why I said that? In New Orleans, when they would kill somebody years ago, a place called Mother's would give you a ham.
Oh, that's sweet of them.
That was great. Now, you know what, Jim? You probably didn't want me to bring up, this horrifying event. I'm sure you had to have therapy and everything else. And let me apologize to you. Crack whore was no therapy. Okay, you probably left some little crack whorettes, homeless or orphans or whatever. They always have little whorettes that are coming up. Jim, what did you call for?
A couple of questions here.
Sure.
After I've been listening to you, and this has nothing to do. This is completely off topic.
This is all off topic.
No.
Play the trumpets. Play the God forbid. It's all completely off topic. Go ahead.
Why is there such a quality difference between the other channel you're on Sirius and this channel?
Because they pay Howard Stern $100 billion a year. And when you play somebody, not $1 million, $100 billion a year, his channel width, now listen to this one. We're on 49th and 6th. His channel width goes all the way from here to the Battery Tunnel. That's how wide his channel width is. And they've got every piece of equipment you can imagine.
And most chicks will tell you it's the channel width, not the channel length.
It's exactly right.
They're into.
My channel, 108 and XM 139, the width of a pubic hair. That's the difference. He has like a 28 block, a bandwidth. Do you know anything about bandwidth?
But we have Rich and Cavino.
And there's Rich and Cavino before us. So that's it.
Yeah.
So
I have no idea
so what is the difference? The voice sounds better, it sounds clearer. I don't know. It sounds fine to me in my headsets.
Yeah, it sounds a lot clearer. It sounds like it's a stronger signal, and
yes.
It
is.
I don't have to turn my radio up as loud over the police radio to hear you when you're on this channel as opposed to the other one.
$100 billion a year. As opposed, people say, why won't you ever say your salary? I'm embarrassed. All right? I'm embarrassed. You want to hear something?
It's little.
What's the date today?
27th.
Food stamp day at my house. They're going down to the post office today and get the food stamps, Okay?
It's usually done on the 5th of the month, isn't it?
And they have a picture of Betty Crocker on them. Many people go, do they change the food stamps? Yes, it's Betty Crocker 1 month.
So that way you can't counterfeit it. You don't know who's going to be on the food.
Do they look like actual stamps?
Yes, they do.
Like little tiny stamps?
And they have Aunt Jemima. They'll have Aunt Jemima on it.
That's kind of racist, Jay.
If you got one with...
I said Betty Crocker first.
Sarah Lee.
Sarah Lee. They'll have Rachel Ray on there.
Mammy.
When you're going in to buy
Chef Boyardee
stovetop stuffing, which Rachel Ray is very good at cooking, you'll have that. Okay? Little Debbie snack cakes. That's right. Yes.
Can I ask you my other question?
And I can prove that we get food stamps. You cannot buy booze with food stamps or cigarettes.
Right.
Proof. Thank you.
If your food stamp has the Wright brothers on it, it's probably a fake.
That's right. That's right. You can fly
upside down.
You can fly Southwest with those.
That's right.
All right. Yes.
Let me ask you my other question, Jack.
Jim, the cop of St. Louis. Yes, go ahead.
What time is it going to be roughly that you have Sean Hannity on?
He'll be on at 9:30. We have a woman coming on who is applying for the greatest job in the world. She's just going to snorkel around Australia, and then Sean Hannity will be on about 9:30, 9:40.
So that's about 8:30 our time?
Yeah, about 8:30 your time in St. Louis, right.
All right, because there's going to be a lot of guys that we're going to try to call out and hang out so we can hear this interview. Ask him one very serious question.
All right, let me write it down. Let me get the question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is it who the hell are you?
Yeah, here we go. Hannity. Here we go. Go ahead. I'm writing it down. Go ahead.
And this is the same thing. Don't write this down yet. But anytime you have these talk shows, and including yourself, you know, or Bill Maher, they do these panels of celebrity-type people, especially in these economic hard times. They sit there and they ask these multimillionaires their opinion on how to solve the current economic crisis.
Like tonight when I go on Hannity. That's exactly right. That's right.
Exactly. I mean, you make a lot more money than I do, Jay. You're
Absolutely.
not going to struggle as much
I could come to St. Louis and give your wife such a tip, she would screw me right in front of you and the children. That's how much money. I just throw the money there, she'd be laying down for me. That's the kind of money I have.
If there's money in it, I don't mind.
I understand. Okay.
But, every once in a while, it would be good to get the average person on to one of these, panels and talk shows. Maybe one celebrity with a couple of regular people. Jim, the police officer, Bill, the plumber, and hear what middle and lower.
I'm going to say that to Hannity, and I'm going to say Jim, the cop from St. Louis, wants to know why you don't have
to do this.
Okay, I will do. Now, do you watch these panels? Because I have to admit, I watched one or two, but I don't watch. Tonight, I'm on with a former lieutenant governor and a lady attorney.
Well, currently I'm writing a book, and I just actually got contacted 2 days ago by a publishing company that I sent summarization to the book to. So yeah, I've been paying attention to it because middle America and lower class America, the people who are really struggling day to day, they don't care about the millionaires' problems that oh my God, I can't buy the new $200,000 million Rolls Royce.
Jim, I care about millionaires' problems. Okay.
Well,
hey, excuse me, my friend. You pinch us. Do we not say ouch? We get cut. Do we not bleed? So screw you, my friend. Millionaires need a friggin' break, and that's what I'm going to talk to tonight, okay?
And what do they need a break for, then?
Because we get sad. We get very sad. You know what I hate? I hate turning on the TV and seeing the middle class weep and bitch. I'd like a channel where you turn it on and it's millionaires and everybody's happy and they're at Club Med or at Sandals.
Do you know how much it costs to fill up a custom Escalade?
Yeah, put that in your friggin' book, Jim the cop.
Put what in the book?
About millionaires being sad. Why don't you ever write anything about that?
Well, I am. Actually, I am. I'm putting a thing in there.
You know what, Jim? Get off my show. I'm sick of you middle-class, hard-working Americans. I'm just sick of them.
This is the happiest show in the whole nation.
Ira, you brought me back to reality. That's Jim the cop. Thank you very much. Finally, Tony of Vermont, the Jay Thomas Show. I'm sorry you had to hear the real me.
Wow, that was incredible, Jay.
Horrible. Awful.
Millionaires.
They're sad.
Millionaires,
right.
So, look, I have a request. Do you think Madison could possibly update her picture on the website?
We take the best picture we can. We put it up there, right?
Why? What is it?
Yeah. What kind of picture do you want?
Well, I was expecting to see some really hot broad, and I was very disappointed.
Wow. Thanks.
So you want a fake picture?
I really
I want a fake picture. I want a fake picture, Madison.
I'm not having a good day, so thanks for making it even worse.
Her period.
I'm sorry, Madison.
Her period started at 6:02 this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
And we started the show.
Truly am sorry.
Something?
You're not fucking sorry. Hang up on him.
We've got to retool the show. We got to retool the show.
You want a nude picture of me? It's going to snow in Vermont.
Of course it is.
It's going to snow heavy.
All right, heavy. You know what? It's going to snow as heavy as Madison's.
Let's get to the gas.
We will.
Please.
Steve, the Jay Thomas Show. Yes, Steve, how are you? What can we do for you?
Hey, Jay, what's going on? This is Steve from the Seven Seas.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Steve!
All right, from the Seven Seas in the Bronx.
Yeah, can we please get, some food over here? Can you send us breakfast
My
one
God,
day?
start buying spots, for God's sake.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I told Ira, and I can't carry all that food down there.
Everybody imitates Ira. All right.
He's good, too.
All right. So next week, Ira, figure out a way to carry something. Steve, what would you recommend that he bring up here?
Well, listen, next week we're going to make a nice apple raisin homemade cake for you guys. My mom's special.
That's it?
We're going to make it homemade, bake it for you guys.
Thank you. What
I'll
else?
see what else
That's
I can
it.
throw in
It's
for you
one
guys.
person.
No, I'm sorry. We give him a plug every week.
Why don't you guys make a list for Ira, what you
All
would
right.
like, and I'll see how I can accommodate you guys.
Steve, her period started this morning. Please don't hold it against her. All right. Steve of the Seven Seas, and you're in the Bronx, and what's your specialty? Is it a Greek restaurant? What is it?
Well, it's like a diner. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
No, it's a diner.
Does Ira have to? Does Ira have to pay any more for anything after all
I
these?
always take care of Ira unless he comes in with his cohorts that go to the shul and they take care of him.
Wait a minute. He doesn't want to pay for others, Ira. Okay.
Ira never asks for anything. He's always welcome.
Does he tip well?
Anything he likes.
You a good tipper?
Ira's the best tipper. Just him giving the
Thank you,
weather
Steve.
report is enough.
Just the weather report is enough. Thank you, Steve of the Seven Seas.
Breakfast next week.
Angie Orth will be here. Yes, sir. Yes, the New York finalist for the best job in the world, and then Sean Hannity will be here in about 10 or 15 minutes. Yes, go ahead.
Before I go, in honor of Ira, I like to commemorate him by repeating the best weather forecast Ira ever made in the Beijing Olympics when he said, partly cloudy with a chance of fried rice.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve of the Seven Seas imitating Ira during the Olympics. Thank you so much. Great Americans, the Jay Thomas Show.
He says what he wants and how he wants it all the time.
It's the weirdest and the wildest. Jay Thomas Show. Horrible.
JThomas.com, where you can buy Obama the Commie sweatshirts. My carbon footprint is bigger than yours. Is your picture on my website, Madison, that they're talking about?
And it's a good picture.
It's a wonderful picture. Pictures of all of us.
Whatever.
Story of little Jay Thomas and how he came from nothing and rose to this. And so I was saying to Shuli, millionaire wakes up, he had 10 million one day, 5 million the next. That's sadness, my friends.
It's a dent.
And a picture of Bill Gates on a millionaire's food stamp.
Doesn't matter how much money you have. I have a lot of money, and I'm very sad.
There you go. And now, Shuli, where do you perform this weekend? Go to Jew Gone Wild or Rev Bob Levy?
Upstate New York. I'm not sure exactly where. Go to Jew Gone Wild or RevBobLevy.com.
What do you just get in the van and then hope for the best? Okay.
Yeah. We've been filming Pharrell all week. I'm exhausted.
Angie Orth is here. She's a New York finalist for the best job in the world. And we had the woman on, this Australian woman. You'll have to put that right close to your mouth. The microphone. My darling.
How's that?
Hey, closer. Even closer.
Okay. How's that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Great.
Good. And we had this woman on from Australia, and it's for like $100,000 in American dollars job. And you applied out of thousands, all over the world.
34,000.
34,000. And they chose you, and you live in Hell's Kitchen.
I do.
Which is like 44th and 10th, the 44th.
Yeah, so
and
close.
11th, where the Improv used to be years and years ago. What is the Improv now? The improvisation nightclub? Nothing?
It's probably a deli.
It's a deli.
I would guess.
Think about that, huh?
A laundromat.
Where I started doing stand-up, it's a deli. Okay? You beat that, okay,
Wow,
Shuli?
Jay.
You beat that, okay?
It was a deli when you started?
No, it was the Improv when I started. It's a deli now. That's right.
As you were walking out, they turned it into a deli.
Yeah, right. Half a pound of smoked turkey.
Please welcome to the stage, corned beef and ham.
So, you apply, you send a video.
Right.
And your video was you walking around Manhattan with a snorkel and stuff on?
Yeah. It was cold.
Very cold.
Very cold.
You're in a bikini?
No.
So you just did it with your clothes on?
Yeah.
Everything else.
Yeah.
Did you have to prove you're a good snorkeler or a good underwater diver? Or?
You know, you don't have to prove it, but there are photos of me doing such activities.
What is the job in the first place?
Well, the job, it's really a tourism position, and what you do, you're sort of the spokesperson and the real gal on the scene that would be talking about what there is to do in Queensland, Australia. So, you know, you snorkel, you scuba dive, you check out all the activities, and you get paid, and you live in a fabulous house.
For how long?
6 months.
You
Now-
get $100,000.
$100,000.
Now,
I know.
What about these other countries? Is there a bunch of Chinese bastards that are trying to get into all this? Because there's so many of them, and they all have internet and everything else, and so that they could overload the voting. You know,
It's
the
funny.
voting is over. I know
The voting's over.
All right.
There are contestants from, I think, 22 countries. So various people have been able to get
But you got a
different...
country with 2 billion people.
Yeah.
All these Chinese bastards are going to vote for that person. All right. By the way, Have the Chinese not tried to kill our animals? Have they not tried to send toys over where if your child licks it, he dies? To me, it is and I'm not joking. Are they not trying to kill us?
Horrible.
Are you kidding?
How much
I'm
smaller?
not an expert in that.
I mean, I'm expert. What do you need? Lick a toy, die from China. Hello? They're trying to kill us.
She just wants to snorkel for $100,000, Jay. She has nothing to do with China.
If a China person beats you, I don't say Chinaman anymore because I say China person.
That's a lot better.
It's much better.
Yeah. It's much more sensitive.
What about a Singaporean? They have those Singaporeans on there too?
There's one guy from Singapore.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Is there like a big-breasted blonde slut from somewhere?
Slutville.
I'm going to not talk about that.
Sweden.
Yeah, some Swedish slut.
There are a lot of beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't win, you want to hear what I'm going to do?
Tell me.
Light myself on fire.
What?
Tibetan monk
I love
style.
this.
Just
Why
torch
didn't you
myself.
come on before
Can you write that down?
so we can vote for you? Now we can't vote for you.
I tried.
In front of the Improv Deli. That's where I'm going to do it. That's what it's called. I don't know if you know.
Send out a statement.
Really, can you write that down?
I will.
Sign it.
By the way, go to BigAppleAngie.blogspot.com, right?
Correct. Yep.
And that's you blogging. Mm-hmm. But there's no more voting. They can't vote anymore.
Right. That's
now,
right.
will they also have a thing where they look at who you are and what you would bring to the job that can override the voting somehow? Or is it strictly personal? I mean, what do you call it? Not what contest is
like
that?
a popularity contest?
Popularity contest, right.
No,
I lost those. I can't even say the word. Yeah.
The only person who the votes matter for is the person with the most votes, and they're guaranteed a spot in the top 11.
Oh.
And Tourism Queensland picks the rest. So,
good.
Yeah, so I'm definitely still in it.
When would you have to leave to take the most fabulous job?
July 1st it begins. July 1st to January 1st.
What about your job right now?
They would miss me.
They would miss you. And you just quit, no problem.
They've been very supportive. I think we'd cross that bridge when we get there. But
What do you do?
They've been great. I'm a publicist.
Oh.
A travel publicist.
Oh.
So it's kind of what I do already.
Nice.
I just don't live on a tropical island. I live on this island.
But what about the boyfriend? How would he feel about you leaving for 6 months?
I don't have one, so it's perfect.
It's impossible that you don't have a boyfriend.
Cute.
No, it's possible.
It's impossible. Why is it so
It's
difficult?
hard in Manhattan.
Madison has
It
a
is.
terrible time.
It's really tough in New York.
It's tough.
It's unbelievable. Do the men just use you both up and toss you aside like
It's
a rag?
just there's too
And is there
many.
video
It's
of
just
that?
too much.
Video of them being used.
Yes.
Tossed aside as
Actually,
a rag.
we were used together a couple nights ago.
Here's
we know
what's sad.
each other. Yeah.
I was single in this city for a long, long time, and you're right. There's
impossible.
There are too many great women, and it's the truth.
It's true.
They're smart. They're tough. They live in New York
and
City.
too little men.
And and the men, they have too much of a choice. My suggestion is, if you get this job, never ever come back here again.
Okay.
Never come back to this country
Don't
again.
do it.
All right.
Don't bother.
And Madison, I would suggest you move to Albany, New York, where you seem to be quite popular.
Oh, well, that's not going so great right now.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
Anywho,
Okay,
thanks
that's
a
it.
lot. Yeah.
Now, Shuli, you found a woman here in town. You're engaged and
He
everything else?
didn't. She wasn't in town. She moved here.
Yeah, she was from out of town.
From another place.
Right.
Another place. Now, if you'd have met Angie here, who's trying out for the best job in the world, would you have used her and tossed her away? Or she's a keeper to me.
I'd have thrown a burger down her throat first.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
a total
That's right.
animal.
Would have fed you and everything. You went on the Today Show. I went on the one after the Today Show with the Hoda, the woman named Hoda something or
Hoda
other.
and Kathy Lee.
Kathy Lee.
Hoda Kotba.
Yeah. You went on the regular one with Matt Lauer and my friend Meredith Fiera.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get votes because of that?
I don't think so.
Were you on the show or just stood in the crowd?
My strategy has been,
Strategy?
Yes, I have a strategy. The Today Show is on my way to work. So every once in a while, when I need to be on TV, I just stop by and wave. On Election Day, I dressed as Sarah Palin.
Nice.
And you can see that on my video.
And
I got on.
did they know you're coming or?
No.
But they know it's you're trying out for this job?
They do now.
So that's pretty good. Did you have a sign, vote for me or something?
I did. And actually, we went on Australia Day right before I made my video. And we took our signs, and it was freezing cold. And that clip is what I used in my video to show that I could get publicity for Queensland.
And did you have to write a little essay for them?
I did now, after I got into the top 50.
Okay.
Then I sent a 500-word essay.
So if you get the job and you snorkel and you email people and you blog and Twitter and Twatter and whatever they're going to call it and all that stuff, and then where do you live? They put you in a beautiful home?
A $4 million house on Hamilton Island.
By yourself?
You can bring friends.
You're kidding.
I know, right?
Let me ask you a question.
But it's winter, though, right? It's
Well,
winter.
no,
It's
it's
never.
opposite.
It's always gorgeous in Queensland.
all
in
the opposite.
Queensland. Okay.
Always.
When it's 30.
No, it's the opposite. But if she's going in July, it'll be cold.
Ira, the
That's what I'm
weatherman,
thinking.
what is the weather in Australia right now, for God's sakes?
Australia right now, it's around 70 degrees in Australia.
Oh, okay.
You know the breath you're smelling? It's called the Seven Seas breath, by the way.
God bless him.
Thank you. What is it, 70 degrees right now?
In all of Australia.
All of Australia.
The whole continent.
In the whole continent. All right.
It's a beautiful place.
Well, listen, good luck. I want you to win so badly because a couple of us applied and sent, stuff, and it didn't work out. And so it's great.
I want to represent New
Are
York.
you the only one from the United States?
No, there are 6 of us.
6. Have you met them? Is there going to be a little?
I've met 3 of them.
Okay, all
They're
right.
actually quite lovely.
And they could pick a guy.
They could.
God, forget that.
Would you follow a guy caretaker?
No, for God's sake.
No. What if he was hot?
No.
No. Talking to me?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm.
No. Now, would you have to wear a bikini the whole time you're there?
I think that'd probably be my uniform.
Now, you're wearing a coat and everything else. Have you been working out? Do you have a great body? I don't know anything about you.
Here's the plan. April 2nd, if I get into the top 11, I'm
Right.
getting a trainer.
You're getting a trainer April
Totally.
2nd.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Start working out
I
in
don't
the
want
hole.
anybody to be sad.
You
if
look
they
like
see
you're
me on a video.
okay, though.
All right.
You're probably okay.
Best job in the
probably
world.
got a nice body.
Good luck, and if you win, you'll come back. If not, you will just be tossed into the trash bin of
Fair enough.
of that moment of
Flash
of
in a
time.
pan.
That's it. Okay. Angie Orr, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
The New York
Good
finalist
luck.
for the
Thank
best
you.
job in the world. Look at her, Shuli, in the snorkel and the.
She will win.
What's that, Ira?
She will win.
Wow.
When's the last time you said somebody was going to win something and they won? When did you see a vision?
About 3 years ago.
Who did you see 3 years ago?
I don't know. I forget, Jay.
But you knew somebody was going to win?
Yes.
Would you like to take her with you as a good luck charm to Atlantic City?
I love Atlantic
she would
City.
do very, very good in Atlantic City.
Right. Okay. But you see her winning. You see her in a bikini, and you see her snorkeling right now.
Number one.
Number one. You see her
Number
winning.
one.
Well, that's it.
I feel it.
Remember,
I feel
Jay,
it. I have
Yes.
good intuition.
when I was forecasting the weather for you a few years ago,
Right.
I said to you the end of April, the big.
You saw me out of work.
Wait, the end of March, the beginning of April, there was going to be a snowstorm.
Oh, we had Al
Roker
comes up to the building, and of course Ira comes in, and Al Roker, who even though he's lost weight is a fathead, right, big fathead guy.
I went head.
He was insulted by the fact that you were here, right? Not here, but at the radio station.
That is right.
And he got all pissed off, and he says, I came into the Jay Thomas show, and they bring this crazy guy in, and he's doing the weather. And you predicted on April 1st. What did you predict?
There was going to be a snowstorm,
That's
and
right.
there was a snowstorm.
Wow.
Al Roker.
I remember the year.
What year?
It was 2000.
The year of 2000.
Well, who's Al to say someone acts weird?
Yeah.
You know, have you seen him give weather?
We are playing a baseball game. The kids are playing a baseball game. It's April 1st. Game called because of snow. Okay? And Al Roker would not come back on the air. It was a brilliant call.
Is he really mad at you for that?
Couldn't stand it.
Legitimate?
All right. Thank you very much, Ira. Thank you, Angie, very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay? All right. And do you get weird guys emailing you and going on your blog spot and all that?
So far, not yet.
You will after
no
today.
stalkers
You'll
yet.
after today. It's Howard 101. Okay. Is that Sean ready to go? Okay. Terrific. Sean Hannity is here. I'll do the show tonight. Not here. He's on the telephone. And
He couldn't cross the street and come in here to give my mother an autographed picture?
he's in his
Come on, Sean.
He is he's in his mansion in Long Island. He's in his mansion in Long Island. Do we have Sean? Hey, Sean J. Thomas, how are you?
What makes you think I have a mansion?
You're supposed to have a mansion, that's why. By the way, Shuli is here, and Madison, whose mother wants an autographed
My
picture.
mother is a huge
Right.
fan.
Listen, book, picture, and listen, I'll even throw in Hannity and Combs memorabilia.
Oh, my God.
No one knows why I have been invited on this panel tonight. Not only have I been invited, Fox flew me here, and I'm on the panel tonight.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You guest hosted for Alan.
That's right.
Which is why I mentioned that, because and you did a great job, to be honest.
Well, why didn't I get hired?
Well, did you apply for a job?
I did, of course I would. What do you think I was doing
Filled
over
out an
there?
application and everything.
I did it all.
You filled out an application and they said no?
I went to lunch with Roger Ailes, and I said tax cuts 10 times before the appetizer came.
You did.
And I still didn't get hired. Here's the crazy thing. By the way, for those of you that may not know, it's Hannity's all by himself now, and then Hannity's America is there, and the New York Times best-selling book, Let Freedom Ring, Winning the War of Liberty Over Liberalism, and Deliver Us from evil, defeating terrorism, despotism, and liberalism. Now look.
Here we go.
No, wait.
Starting in.
No, I'm not starting in.
All right.
They tried to hang some people in France the other day. The people revolted. They threw a rock through the guy's window in Scotland. They're screaming in the streets and holding up signs and everything else. Isn't it not liberalism right now? It's populism, isn't it? That's what it really is. Wouldn't you say the people are rising up? And what's the difference between that and liberalism, which would be the people getting a bigger cut of the pie?
There are other signs going on that are frightening too. There's been a systematic demonization of business. I don't know if you saw the sign of this guy that wants to kill AIG executives. That wants
to murder them, right?
Yeah, and then we have these lunatics showing up at the homes of AIG executives. Well, it was Congress, it was the president that signed the provision, the Dodd Amendment, that allowed them to get those bonuses in the first place.
So are you recommending that they attack those people instead?
No. My point is that, when you have the president of the United States demonizing business and people to that extent, I think it's somewhat reckless of the president to be doing that, as he often demonizes capitalism. But if you're asking me what movement is going on right now, I think you have two separate movements in the country. You've got a populist movement when 5,000 people are showing up, and I think this is only the beginning. Wait till April 15th. 5,000 people in Cincinnati, 4,000 people in Orlando. I can name another 15 or 20 cities where they're having these tea parties. That is the populist movement. And then I think there is a movement in this country that wants to dramatically shift the economy from capitalism to Obama socialism. And I think we're watching that transference going on right now.
So, Sean, when people say they hope that, Obama fails, that's bad, because
that's not what Rush said. I interviewed him on February 2nd, and his exact line was this, and everybody in the media took it out of context.
Right.
He said, look, Sean, if he wants to, along with Abraham Lincoln and FDR, add Ronald Reagan to, the list of presidents that he wants to model himself after, I'm all for it. But if he wants to implement European socialism here in America, I don't want that to succeed. I want him to fail, because that's going to guarantee, predictably, we can see socialism has failed. Did you see? You didn't watch the show last night. I'm sure you had to go to bed early because you get up early. But we had this guy Daniel Hannan on. This guy with the European member of Parliament, and this rant that has gotten so much attention of his. He seems to know more about America and what has worked for us and created a standard of living for us than any of these guys in Washington. And I asked him, I said, well, should we nationalize health care in America? And his answer was a passionate plea. If I could tell you one thing not to do not do that. And I mentioned an article in the Daily Mail for everybody that wants nationalized health care. They have what's called a rationing body, a government rationing body, that last week denied women, and by the way, my mother had breast cancer, and I know the horror of what it's like to go through the treatment of breast cancer. She had a mastectomy, she lost her hair, she went through radiation. It was hell on earth. And so...
what does that? I have that in my life also. What does that have to do with the government? The government
rationing body in Great Britain denied life-saving drugs to women with advanced breast cancer and a rare form of stomach cancer. In other words, the government decided you can't have those drugs. And he said, that is a story we hear every day here in Great Britain.
Well, they're blaming Natasha Richardson's death.
Yeah, I saw that.
On the Canadian, we don't know if that's true or not, but they're blaming it. Now, here's the thing that we had a guy call earlier, a cop, from St. Louis.
Yeah.
He says, why doesn't Hannity have me, Jim the cop, and he promoted whatever book he's writing and how he had shot a crack addict and all that. Why doesn't he have regular, people on his panel, and he's going to have you on there, and we have the lieutenant governor tonight and a woman attorney, and we're going to talk about stuff.
No, we have Michelle Bachmann is on tonight.
Right. Now, here's the other thing. Here we are, we make plenty of money, our lives are maybe not as affected as everyone else. I think that people do want a piece of the pie that rich people have. You can call it whatever you want to call it.
You mean spread spread the wealth?
In people's heads, they are pissed off because, and not us, because, we're entertainers or newscasters or whatever you want to call us, but they're angry at people that have a bunch of money and they don't want them to get the money anymore. I think taxing the guys from AIG was stupid, and I don't think you cap salaries. I don't believe in all that, and I'm supposed to be a big Democrat. But what do you call a person that says, I want some of what he and she has?
For me, I have a pretty interesting perspective because I didn't grow up rich. My father actually grew up poor. All four of my grandparents came from Ireland when they had no money. I mean, zero. They didn't have 10 cents in their pocket, at a time in New York and Boston and Philly where it was Irish Catholic need not apply. But, my father grew up poor in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn, New York, and after, Pearl Harbor, he signed up and he served his country 4 years in the Pacific, and he came back, and it was a big deal for him to get a 50 by 100 lot on Long Island in Franklin Square. And we had 4 kids, 3 older sisters, 1 bathroom. It was a living hell.
The government never helped you, ever.
What's that?
The government never helped you?
No. I think the closest...
FHA?
The closest I ever got was a student loan that for 10 years I paid back at $58.05 a month. Because I didn't have any money. Now, look, my parents wanted to help me out. I was going in and out of college, and I knew they didn't have a lot of money, so I did it on my own. So I'd go to college, and I'd go for a semester, and I'd drop out, and I'd go to work, and I'd go back, and I'd drop out. Went back and forth to college, 4 or 5 times, because I was paying for it myself.
Self-reliance, Jay.
Well, also, I live in Santa Barbara, and you were...
I lived there 5 years.
All of that. I don't know how you afforded anything.
No, I couldn't afford. I lived in a dump, and I was run out of town because I was a conservative.
Right, exactly. And you were on the college radio station and all that. The thing is that you still haven't answered my question. You've got these people that they're blaming everything on them, and it's not correct. But they make millions, billions of dollars, and then you've got people struggling to make money.
All right, let me answer your question directly.
I want a piece of their money.
All right, hang on.
I want it. I want some of Howard Stern's
Jay,
money.
the thing is, the question was that regular guy wants to be on a show.
And wants a piece of the action.
No, that's not some...
That's the question I asked.
Now, I'm going to give you 2 statistics that I think are startling and shocking.
Now, are these real statistics?
No, I swear, real statistics.
All right.
There are, 8-9 million people in New York City?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 50% of the income to the city of New York comes from, I'll let you guess, we'll have some fun. How many people pay 50% of the income tax bill in New York of those 8 million people?
Well, it's got to be like the regular government. It's got to be up the upper 1%.
All right, but give me a number of how many people.
Out of the 9 million, 10% would be 900,000. So I'll make it 500,000.
No, 42,242 people pay exactly half of the city income tax.
Okay, and
all right, now,
right.
I'll give you one other on the federal level, and for the latest year that we have, it's either 2006 or 2007. The top 10% of wage earners in America pay nearly 70% of the federal income tax bill. That's top 10% wage earners. The bottom 50% pay 2.9% of the federal tax bill. So if you're asking if we have redistribution of wealth in America, the answer is we have full, complete, and total redistribution of wealth. We're almost at the point, Jay, where we almost have an electorate where 51 or 52% after Obama finishes, if he successfully implements his plan of redistribution, the estimated numbers from Heritage and some of these other groups is going to be the voting electorate will have 50+% of people that pay zero income tax. And why would they ever vote themselves anything other than taking everybody else's money? Now, what made this country great, I think, and by the way, I want a safety net. I don't think any child in America should ever go hungry. We have enough wealth to make sure that never happens. But the thing that makes this country great is, you know what, Jay, you got up at 2 o'clock in the morning to fill in on the Howard Stern show. And you know what? You're going to get paid for that effort. There are some people, I know this may shock you, but they actually want to get up this morning and they want to get a 6-pack and they want to sit in front of the TV all day and they don't really want to contribute.
And they want
much.
us to pay for them.
And
well, now I had a 6-pack before I came in, but I made it to work.
That's what makes the show so good.
Exactly.
You had a 12-pack.
Now wait, so you're saying that the wealth is being spread, and so what we're seeing is an overreaction and people breaking windows. So let's say, and this may not be exactly what conservatives want, and they say, gee, don't do anything. Let the banks handle it themselves. And even when Paulson was speaking, when Bush was leaving, he said he would not have wanted a bailout. But when he looked at how horrible the ultimate outcome could be, that he said for the first time in his life, we should bail out these banks. If we had done nothing, don't you think that people would be calling for Barack Obama's head also? If he'd said, screw them, let them bail themselves out?
There's a Congressman, Louis Gohmert, out of Texas, and he came up with, if we were going to spend this massive amount of money, and the idea was to get it in the hands of the American people, he actually added up all the dollars. If we go through the TARP money, if we go through the stimulus package, if we look at the omnibus bill with 9,000 earmarks, all of this has been passed. And he said that we could go, every single solitary American can go an entire year and not pay a penny in federal income tax or Social Security taxes. Now, I think that would have stimulated the economy a lot better than the banks. But with that said, I do think we needed to get the banks on financial footing. One of my biggest problems with all of this is, I don't know what mistakes you've made in your life. I've made a lot of them. When I make a mistake, I try and really dig deep down and try and get to the root cause of it and say, all right, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? That sort of thing. And if we get to the root cause of why we're here, it is this notion, this sort of socialistic mentality that got us here because, starting with Jimmy Carter, doubled down with Bill Clinton as president, government decided that people ought to have access to loans whether they can afford it or not.
But Sean, both sides of the aisle. Yeah, but Sean, both sides of the aisle we're saying, give everybody a friggin' loan. I'm a realtor, and it looks stupid to me and wrong. I am. I'm a realtor in Santa Barbara,
Oh, you make a fortune on every sale you have.
I have made, but they were allowing people, and the government was allowing people. But now this is under your guy, under George Bush, and that Congress, which was once Republican and then Democratic, it was allowed to make loans that should never have been made, and investments, and there was no regulation. Out of this scandal, and this is true of 1892, it's true of 1929, and it was true in 87, it's going to be true now. Aren't we going to get regulations now that are going to stop exactly what you're angry at?
Well, I don't really know because I don't really see that side of it coming up yet. What bothers me is, and I've shown this videotape and I've played the audio on my radio show, is there's actually tape. We did an audit of Fannie and Freddie back in 2003 and 2004, and they held congressional hearings, and the Democrats just staunchly looked at the numbers and defended, Franklin Raines, a friend of Barack Obama's, and Jim Johnson. Franklin Raines made $90 million in 6 years as they were buying up all these bad loans. And this is when the Republicans, to their credit, including President Bush and John McCain and Chris Shays, who's no longer in Congress, and some of these other guys, they were saying, look, folks, these numbers are frightening. And if we don't fix this, it's going to impact our financial institutions, our banks are going to go belly up, and the economy as a whole is going to go under. And every single Democrat in that hearing looking at those same numbers for Freddie and Fannie, which is the root cause of this, and the idea that Americans should own a home whether they can afford it or not, and banks ought to make these loans because our society is so compassionate that everybody ought to own a home whether you can afford it. And so I think that's the root cause of it. The problem is now is, look, Bill Clinton, I'll say something nice about him. I mean, after health care failed, the era of big government ended. The era of welfare spending ended. Welfare as we know it is over. And in that sense, he teamed up with guys like John Kasich and Pete Domenici, and they gave us a balanced budget. We did some smart things. The era of big government's just starting.
Sean, one other question is...
Yeah, go ahead. What is it?
We are not used, as my kids, your kids, we're not used to any trouble. And what we're going to have to go through to do the more conservative thing is going to be painful. And we're going to live on less. Our houses are going to be worth less. And
we're all suffering.
Yeah, but wait a minute. This is not a country that has any interest in suffering for 1 second. And that's cultural. And how do you solve that? And start with our kids. Our kids don't want to.
I agree with you. I mean, we become. Look, I think of the life of my grandparents and my parents, and you probably have a similar story, Jay. Almost every American does. I am scared. Let me give you one number, not to throw a lot of numbers at you.
Well, you know I don't have any facts, and that you know that.
You do so.
You know all about me.
Actually, no, you do. But by the year 2019...
They're not real facts, though.
By the year 2019, get this, absorb this number. The government's going to be paying $806 billion annually on interest charges alone if Barack Obama's budget passes. Now, it's unsustainable. John McCain calls it generational theft. And we're basically taking a baseball bat and breaking open the piggy banks of our kids and grandkids. And I just think we can do better than spending all that money. Maybe we do need to accept that for a period of time that we're going to work this thing out, but I don't think government is the answer. I think government makes the problem.
How about a billboard campaign?
It's Jay Thomas, for president.
No, tough it out.
I like it.
Tough it out, and then...
And how about all of us that have been blessed?
Yes.
How about,
What?
I've never understood this about Hollywood liberals. Why don't they come up, if they want to help the poor and the homeless, you know what? I donate a lot of money to charity every year. You donate, I'm sure, a lot of money to charity every year.
I don't like the homeless. I'm not nuts about the homeless.
Why not?
Because they ruined my view of the beach in Santa Barbara.
Oh, that's evil.
It's the truth.
That is just evil.
No, it isn't evil. It's the truth. You go down, there's a bunch of homeless. It's like, why don't you be homeless in the friggin' desert?
Look, I think I was one of those guys under the fig tree at one point.
Right. Can I ask another question? If most conservatives certainly are against abortion and sometimes against birth control and everything else, every time a child is born out of wedlock, I think it's a Democrat. And then the Democrats are all for birth control and for abortion rights. It's backwards to me. It would seem like you wouldn't want out of wedlock welfare Democrats being born. It would seem like the Democrats, wouldn't want to stop their constituency from being born. That's always confused me.
Well, if you're looking at it from through a purely political prism, it is a very twisted way of looking at it. I would say that, but. You know what?
It's in my book, by the way. I'm just a Christian. I believe that life begins at conception. I believe that, there is a God and that life is precious and should be defended. All right. Sean, I'll see you tonight. You coming on tonight? I'll be on tonight. Sean, thank you very much. Right, Sean Hannity, Hannity.com. You'll see everything else. And, he is responsible for everybody's money in New York. Out of those 42,000 people, he makes up 38,000 of them alone. Wow. His taxes. That's what's unbelievable. Great American, Sean. Thank you. Madison, I'll talk to you later. We'll get a picture for your mom. Okay? Shalom, Madison. Shalom. Thank you very much. Shuli, thank you so much. Sean and Garrett, we'll see you later tonight. I'll be on Hannity all by himself and with some other folks whose names I'll learn when I get there. I'll see you later.